Chapter 336. Although the two hurricane wolves were 5th grade high, they relied on their speed advantage. In terms of combat power, they were probably only comparable to a 5th grade Wuzong with an explosive force of more than 200,000 Jin. They couldn't be compared to a strength-type fire dragon at all. Jun Changshao was a superior 2nd grade Wuzong with a strength of nearly 350,000 Jin. He also had the green dragon crescent blade. Not to mention, he also practiced the cloud steps, so his speed wasn't weak either. Naturally, killing two 5th stage hurricane wolves was also a piece of cake. Awo! The Wolf King roared again. This time, it gave the order to retreat. Shwa! Shwa! In an instant, hundreds of hurricane wolves fled one after another. One ran faster than the other. This human was too terrifying. They couldn't wait to disappear. Want to run? Jun Changshao chased after them with the cloud steps. Shwa! Shwa! The green dragon crescent blade waved frequently, forming a blade aura that tore apart the hurricane wolves. Although there were still quite a few that ran away. However, there were at least 100 corpses on the road. What a coward! Jun Changshao gave up the chase. He kept the green dragon crescent blade, took out the cold light sword, and began to peel the skin and extract the crystal cores. There were at least 700 hurricane wolf corpses lying here. It took some time to collect them, but the harvest was not bad. Not to mention the large number of high-quality wolf skins, there were more than 400 wind-type crystal cores. There were a total of 310 cores from the 5th grade to the 8th grade. There were 54 cores of the 9th grade, 12 cores of the 1st grade, and 2 cores of the 5th grade. Shwa! Jun Changshao opened the talisman pavilion and clicked on the gallop talisman. The panel that appeared was 21 wind-type 5th grade crystal cores. 122 wind-type 1st grade crystal cores. 545 wind-type 9th grade crystal cores. 6,501 cyclone pills. The Refine button below finally lit up after the materials were automatically matched. However, because there were only 2 of the most important 5th grade crystal cores, he could only refine 2 pieces. It's better than nothing. Jun Changshao was very satisfied and directly clicked on the refining button. Ho. The talismans were being refined mechanically. Refining charms required time. Jun Changshao took back the interface and looked at the corpses on the ground. The levels of these wolf beasts are not bad. Their meat should be delicious. Should we decorate them? Smack, smack. The little dragon stopped in front of the wolf carcass and opened its mouth to tear it apart. Alright then. Then let's split more. The spatial ring given by the system had a large capacity, and there were many spare rings that could store a lot of beast meat. Ding! 4 hours later, a notification sounded. Inside the spatial ring given by the system, a speed talisman appeared out of thin air. Jun Changshao looked at it carefully and found that it was similar to the one he used in the past. He was overjoyed and said, the effect should be similar to the one given by the big gift pack, right? There were 3 types of talismans in the talisman pavilion. Only the elementary strength increasing talisman had a detailed introduction. The insight talisman and the gallop talisman were not available. Host, you're thinking too much. The system said, most of the talismans refined from the talisman and incantation pavilion have their effects reduced, which is made up for the time limit. Alright. Jun Changshao took out the galloping talisman and murmured, do you want to try? Yes. The system said, let me help the host determine the effect and time limit. Paw! Jun Changshao directly crushed it. Huff huff. A special force flowed into his legs, giving him the urge to run immediately. The system said, the gallop talisman refined by the talisman and incantation pavilion has half the effect of the big gift pack, but the time limit is 2 hours. To increase the effect from 1 hour to 2 hours with half the effect, no matter how one looked at it, it was a bit of a loss. Little dragon, little ice sculpture. Jun Changshao said, wait here, I'll be back soon. Roar! The ice lion growled in response. Shwa! Jun Changshao dragged his afterimage and disappeared. Little Dragon and the ice lion saw this and their eyes widened. Oh my god! Master's speed was so fast that they couldn't even see him clearly. Shwa! Shwa! Jun Changshao sped through the forest, dragging an afterimage behind him. The system analyzed, although it's not fast enough to make the afterimage solidify for a while, with the host's current speed, it's infinitely close. Not bad, Jun Changshao said. In fact, to be able to be so fast, the talisman was one of the reasons, and the cloud-treading steps was another. Of course. Sect leader Jun didn't crush the gallop talisman simply to test his speed. He chased in the direction of the hurricane wolves. Wind-type beasts. Today, this seat wants to compete with all of you to see who can run faster. Xiao! In the forest, a stream of light flashed. If one didn't use the long-range camera, it would be difficult to capture Jun Changxiao's figure. Whoa! In a cave, the howl of a wolf could be heard. This was the nest of the hurricane wolves. It was very spacious, enough to accommodate 2,000 to 3,000 wolves. At this moment, the majestic hurricane wolf king stood on a huge rock in the cave. It raised its head and growled, seemingly comforting its defeated subordinates. If one looked carefully at the cave, they would find that there were not only nearly 1,000 hurricane wolves, but also many human skeletons. They were all martial cultivators who came to explore the 10,000 beast mountain range and became food. Whoa! The few hundred hurricane wolves that were lucky enough to survive under the blade growled along with their king, as if remembering their dead companions. They rarely encountered opponents in the mountain range. This time, so many of them were killed. It was a heavy loss. Xiao! Suddenly, a gust of cold wind blew. The howling hurricane wolf king suddenly stopped and looked over with its cold eyes. It saw a human holding a blade standing at the entrance of the cave. It's him. The hateful guy who killed countless of my subordinates. TSK. Jun Changshao, who heard the howl, raised his green dragon crescent blade and said, I didn't expect there to be so many hurricane wolves in the cave. I can use them as materials. Whoa! The hurricane wolf king growled. Shwa! Shwa! 4 hurricane wolves of the 5th stage rushed over and shot hurricane cannonballs at the entrance of the cave. Shwa! Shwa! Jun Changshao dragged his afterimage and elegantly dodged. Die! Shwa! In an instant, he approached a hurricane wolf and chopped off its head. Poochie! 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 Another 3 slashes. The other 3 hurricane wolves of the 5th stage had their heads separated from their bodies. How fast was he? He was so fast that the eyes of nearly 1,000 hurricane wolves in the cave were filled with fear. Wind-type berserk beasts were known for their speed. Jun Changxiao's speed was so fast that they couldn't clearly see his figure. Roar! The hurricane wolf king roared and rushed over while stepping on the wind. This human was too strong. Letting his subordinates fight him would be suicide. He could only do it himself. Shwa! The hurricane wolf king's strength was 9th stage. Its speed was much faster than the hurricane wolves of the 5th stage. When it rushed over, the hurricane cannonball that it shot out carried at least 300,000 gene of force. Jun Changxiao's speed was also fast. He dodged first. Boom! The hurricane cannonball hit the mountain wall, shattering a lot of rocks and creating a big hole. Shwa! Jun Changxiao circled around and the green dragon crescent blade swept over. The hurricane wolf king dodged with difficulty and rushed toward the entrance of the cave. There were many beasts in the cave. Fighting here would only implicate them. Thus, it was best to lure that guy out. High-ranked berserk beasts had basically developed intelligence. Not only could they understand human language, but they could also think like humans. Shwa! Jun Changshao chased after the hurricane wolf king with his blade. He wanted to see if the Hurricane Wolf King was faster or if he was faster. Chapter 337. Whoosh whoosh. A cold wind blew over, pressing down the grass. A man and a beast faced each other on the open ground. They were about 100 meters apart. Jun Changshao said indifferently, "You were worried about accidentally injuring your own kind, so you purposely drew me out. You are quite smart, evil beast." Whoosh! The Hurricane Wolf King lowered its head and spat out a whirlwind from its mouth. Its eyes flashed with cold killing intent. "How about this?" Jun Changshao said, "Become my contracted beast, and I will spare their lives." If he could use this kind of speed-type beast as a mount, it would definitely be much stronger than the purple lightning tiger cub. Speaking of which, Sect leader Jun was also obsessed with subduing beasts. The system poured cold water on him. This is a 9th grade beast. With the host's current soul power, it is impossible to form a contract with it. Can't I just force it? If the host tries to force it, his soul will be severely damaged. Subduing beasts and forming a contract usually depended on the level of the two parties. Jun Changshao was stronger than the Hurricane Wolf King, but he was only a 2nd grade Wuzong, 7 grades lower than the Hurricane Wolf King. Howl! The Hurricane Wolf King roared angrily and dashed forward, shooting out a series of whirlwind cannonballs. Jun Changshao met the attack with his blade and destroyed all the cannonballs with his powerful strength. Whoosh! He waved his blade again, and a green light burst out. Shwa! The Hurricane Wolf King hurriedly dodged. But just as it turned around, Jun Changshao appeared in front of it, and the green dragon crescent blade slashed down again. Boom! The blade slashed the ground, leaving a deep mark. The Hurricane Wolf King, who had dodged with difficulty, stabilized its body, and its eyes were filled with shock. How could this human's speed be so terrifying? Shwa! There was no time to think. Jun Changshao dragged his afterimage and appeared in front of it again, slashing down with his blade. Boom! The blade slashed the ground again. The Hurricane Wolf King dodged, and a chill ran down its spine. This person was too fast, and the whirlwind cannonballs couldn't do anything to him. There was no way it could fight him. In fact, the Hurricane Wolf King was able to dodge because Jun Changshao didn't use his absolute strength. Otherwise, the blade would have been even faster. Shwa! 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 Sect Master Jun continued to dash forward. He swayed left and right, and his afterimages spread across the spacious grassland. The Hurricane Wolf King was so shocked that it could only choose to dodge. Jun Changshao gave up on attacking for the time being and chased after him as if he were taking a leisurely stroll. "You're a wind-type Wolf King, aren't you a bit too slow?" The Hurricane Wolf King was infuriated. It could only increase its speed to the maximum and enter the gloomy forest. It could only rely on the complicated terrain to shake off this human and defend its dignity as the king of the wind-type wolf beasts. Unfortunately, half an hour later. Plop! The Hurricane Wolf King lay paralyzed in the forest, its tongue hanging out as it gasped for air. Boom! In his field of vision, the cyan broadsword was stabbed in front of him. Jun Changshao stood in front of it and grinned. "Stand up and run." The Hurricane Wolf King wanted to run, but it was already exhausted. It was quite a tragedy for a Wolf King that was known for its speed to be chased into such a sorry state. "You're not running anymore, right?" Jun Changshao waved his hand and took out a spider web. He tied up the Hurricane Wolf King and dragged it back to the wolf cave. Since he couldn't sign a contract with it, he would drag it back to the sect and slowly tame it. Roar! Not long after they left, a deafening roar came from the forest in the distance, causing the surrounding leaves to rustle. The Hurricane Wolf King's eyes were filled with fear. It desperately tried to break free from the spider web. Unfortunately, the more it struggled, the tighter the web became. Jun Changshao said, "Stop resisting." The system said, "From the roar just now, I'm afraid that it's a beast comparable to the peak of Wuzong. It seems to be coming from the wolf cave." Correct. Jun Changshao murmured, could it be that a powerful beast has set its eyes on the hurricane wolves? That won't do. That's the prey I want. Shwa! Jun Changshao dragged the hurricane wolf king and rushed toward the wolf cave. Roar! The roar was still echoing. Jun Changshao was getting closer and closer to the wolf cave. He could clearly feel the ground trembling slightly, as if it was caused by some kind of power. Soon, he arrived at the wolf cave. He saw a beast that looked like a gorilla and an ape. Its entire body was covered in brown fur. It was waving a wooden stick and hitting the ground. It wasn't a wooden stick. It was a thick and sturdy tree. Because the beast's body was too big, it was like a wooden stick in his hand. The system said, "This is a gorilla savage." What's its strength? Jun Changshao asked. The system was silent for a moment. Then, it said, "It's a low-grade spirit beast." Low-grade, spirit beast? Jun Changshao's mouth twitched. Savage beasts were divided into low, mid, and high grades. They corresponded to martial disciple, martial master, and wuzong. Above that were spirit beasts. They were also divided into low, mid, and high grades. They corresponded to martial king, Wu Huang, and Wu Sheng. A low-grade spirit beast was comparable to a rank 1 martial king. Holy shit! Jun Changshao exclaimed, there really are spirit beasts in the 10,000 Beast Mountain range. Boom! The gorilla savage smashed the thick wooden stick down, causing the ground to tremble again. The inside of the wolf cave couldn't withstand the tremors and started to shake, forcing the hurricane wolves to rush out. Whoosh! The gorilla barbarian seized the opportunity and swung his club down, directly crushing more than 10 hurricane wolves into meat paste. Seeing this, Jun Changshao, who was hiding in the distance, immediately understood why the gorilla savage was smashing the ground. It was to force all the wolf beasts out of the cave. So smart! Shwa! The gorilla savage's other hand reached down and sucked out the crystal core from the meat paste. Then, it put it into its mouth and swallowed it. The system said, this spirit beast lives on crystal cores. The more it eats, the stronger it gets. Damn! Jun Changshao said, isn't this fucked up? He didn't have any objections to eating the crystal cores of other beasts. However, it had to eat the hurricane wolf's crystal core. Wasn't this clearly stealing his things? Boom! Boom! The gorilla savage was still smashing the ground. The walls of the wolf cave started to collapse, forcing more hurricane wolves to escape. Boom! In the end, they were smashed into meat paste and contributed crystal cores. Wu Wu, the hurricane wolf king, who was tied up, let out a strange howl. As the leader of the pack, it must be very sad to see its own kind being killed by the gorilla savage with a wooden stick. Big guy. Jun Changshao said with a cold face, I'll help you get rid of this big guy. How about you submit to me? Woo! The hurricane wolf king let out a sound as if it had compromised. At this time, it had to agree because if it didn't get rid of the gorilla savage quickly, its own kind would definitely be killed by it. Deal. Jun Changshao said, I'll help you kill that big guy and you'll submit to me as your master. Shwa! As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed toward the gorilla savage with a trail of afterimages. If the hurricane wolf king didn't agree, Sect leader Jun would also make a move. After all, he needed the wind crystal cores to make the Gallop talisman. If it ate them all, where would he go to find the materials? Bastard! Jun Changshao jumped into the air and rushed over with a trail of afterimages. He slashed down with the green dragon crescent blade. Die! Bang! The blow landed squarely on the savage's back, and he was sent flying by Hua Li's attack. Thump! 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 Jun Changshao landed on the ground and retreated dozens of steps. The hand holding the blade was numb and the corner of his mouth twitched. This guy's skin is too thick. Shwa! He raised the blade again and was about to slash. The gorilla savage suddenly turned its head and anger appeared on its face. A pair of big eyes stared at Sect leader June and a strong chi wave appeared around its body. The chi wave was like a gust of wind, blowing June Changxiao's black hair. Fuck! Just its aura alone was so terrifying. A spirit beast comparable to a martial king was indeed terrifying. Shwa! Sect leader June hurriedly put away the green dragon crescent blade and grinned. If I said I was just passing by, would you believe me? Believe your ass. Chapter 338. A spirit beast that was comparable to a martial king was very powerful. Just the aura around it was enough to create a strong pressure. Jun Changxiao was truly inferior in front of the ferocious apes. At that moment, he instantly judged that he couldn't fight against such a powerful monster. Therefore, he said shamelessly, if I said I was just passing by, would you believe me? To tell the truth, he didn't believe it himself. He also thought that the ape would angrily raise its wooden club and smash it down. But he swore that no matter how much he thought about it, he never thought that this big guy would suddenly reply, believe your grandpa. Ga. Sect leader June was dumbfounded. I was just scolded by a spirit beast. The system was speechless. Host, shouldn't you be thinking about why it can speak human language? That woke him up from his dream. Right. How could an evil beast speak human language? How could it curse? This was illogical. The system said, spirit beasts are called spirit beasts because they have gained intelligence. It's normal for them to speak human language. Then why aren't they called intelligent beasts? How would I know? At that moment, the ape raised its wooden club and smashed it down. Its explosive strength easily broke through 1,000,000 gene. It was happily enjoying the crystal core when it was suddenly attacked from behind. Of course it would be angry. Whoosh whoosh, a strong wave of chi came down first. Breaking through to martial king and condensing spiritual sense, it was able to see clearly. Although spirit beasts couldn't use the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, they could form a kind of spiritual pressure to control their target. This kind of spiritual pressure was similar to an aura. The hurricane wolf that ran out of the cave was suppressed by the spiritual pressure. It was bound and then killed by the wooden club. Such a strong aura. Jun Changxiao hurriedly used the cloud treading steps to escape. If it was someone else, they would definitely be disturbed by the spiritual pressure and their movements would be slowed down. But he wasn't affected at all and easily escaped. Why? Because the spiritual pressure was much weaker than the 10 times gravity of the first floor of the training tower. Boom! The ground shook and the cold wind whistled. Jun Changxiao ran hundreds of meters away in one breath and summoned the green dragon crescent blade. He said angrily, "Don't go too far." The system was speechless. Please. You were the one who took the initiative to provoke it first. The ape barbarian said in surprise, "You can actually ignore my spiritual pressure." Jun Changxiao could understand the general idea. The so-called spiritual pressure should be the aura that had been suppressed just now. Thus, he said disdainfully, "With your spiritual pressure, it's not enough to tickle me." Is that so? The ape barbarian's eyes were filled with anger. Shwa! With one hand, he grabbed a nearby tree and uprooted it, using it as a wooden stick again. He said coldly, "You're going to die today for disturbing my meal." Step! Step! He walked over with heavy steps. Jun Changxiao raised his green dragon crescent blade and rushed over with cloud treading steps. In front of him was a colossus that was even bigger than the stone golem. He rushed over recklessly. It was a very vivid scene. If there was a BGM at this moment, it would be even more perfect. Die, human! The ape barbarian roared angrily, and 2 thick trees came crashing down with a violent force. Shwa! Shwa! Jun Changxiao used his movement technique, dragging an afterimage to dodge the 2 wooden sticks. He tiptoed and leaped into the air. He raised his blade and shouted angrily, "Fuck, this was not a move. This was a sign of surprise." Because when the ape saw him jump, it did not say anything and raised its head to smash at him. "Please. You're a spirit beast. How can you use such a despicable move?" Boom! Before Sect leader June could swing his blade, he was hit by the ape barbarian's head. His whole body was sent flying. Dang dang dang. He landed on the ground and staggered back dozens of steps. Whoosh whoosh. The ape barbarian walked over quickly, raised its 2 wooden sticks, and smashed them down crazily. Boom! 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 The ground shook, and dust flew everywhere. After smashing more than 10 times, the ape barbarian stopped and said disdainfully, "Little human, you dare to appear in front of me. You really don't know what's good for you." "Hey!" A voice came from behind, "I'm here." The ferocious ape turned around and saw that Jun Changshao had appeared behind him at some point, the corners of his mouth raised into a smile. 3 heroes against Lu Bu. He poured his strength into the green dragon crescent blade and slashed at the barbarian's ankle. This scene was so familiar. Not bad. When he was fighting against the stone man, Jun Changshao chopped at its ankle and made it lose its balance. "I don't believe it. You will be the same as the stone-type beasts and have the ability to quickly recover your legs." Bang! The green dragon crescent blade slashed at the barbarian's ankle. However, its fur was too thick. Not only was it not injured, but it also sent Jun Changshao flying. The ape barbarian did not have the recovery ability of the stone man, but it had a high level of defense. It was not strong enough to injure it. Fuck! Jun Changshao steadied himself and realized that this guy was very troublesome. The system said, if the host did not have the speed talisman, you would have been dead by now. This was the truth. With the speed talisman, Jun Changshao was able to dodge the barbarian's attack. Otherwise, he would have been turned into minced meat. Die! Hoo-hoo! The ape barbarian once again raised its 2 wooden clubs and smashed down. It was hit again, making it even angrier. Unfortunately, although its strength had increased, Jun Changshao was not controlled by the spiritual pressure and his speed was very fast. He was able to escape in time. The current situation was, no one could do anything to the other. The situation was in a stalemate. The bound Hurricane Wolf King saw that the human was able to contend with the ape barbarian from afar. Its eyes were filled with shock. That was a spirit beast. This guy's cultivation did not seem high. How did he do it? Who? Hong! 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 The ape barbarian was still crazily attacking. Even though it knew it was useless, it still thought that if it hit, this human would be turned into minced meat. Shwa! 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 Jun Changshao used the cloud-treading steps to the extreme and dodged the wooden clubs in the narrow space. Finally, he jumped up again and shouted, "You really want to force me to use my trump card?" Hoo-hoo! In an instant, the green dragon crescent blade released a green attribute and transformed into Wu Xing's soul behind him. Shwa! Under the support of Guan Yu, Jun Changshao furiously slashed down with his blade. A huge green blade aura carrying a violent force instantly swept over. The ape barbarian's eyes were filled with shock. It immediately blocked the 2 wooden clubs in front of it. Shio! The green blade aura fiercely slashed through. Not only did it cut off the 2 wooden clubs, it also cut off a lot of its thick rope-like hair. ZZ! A blade mark appeared and blood splattered everywhere. Ah! The ape barbarian screamed in pain. The Hurricane Wolf King opened its eyes wide. Obviously, it did not expect that the human could hurt such a strong spirit beast. Strong defense. In front of Guan Yu, all living things were equal. Shwa! Jun Changshao landed and rushed over again. Hiss hiss, the blade of the green dragon crescent blade dragged a slender blade mark on the ground. Shwa! Jun Changshao jumped up and slashed down with his blade. He shouted, "I am Guan Yunchang, the Marquis of Han Shou Ting." Whoosh! A powerful force burst out and once again condensed into a green blade aura. At that moment, Jun Changshao was like the incarnation of Guan Yu. Although his physique was small, the aura emitted from his body and eyes was daunting. "Human! Go to hell!" The ape barbarian's eyes were filled with endless anger. It threw away the broken wooden clubs and raised its meaty hand to smash down. Xiao, the blade aura swept across and gradually disappeared in the void. The ape barbarian's palm suddenly showed a deep blade mark and blood splattered everywhere. Chapter 339. Jun Changshao had stimulated the martial saint's soul's second slash, and it had the power to cut through rivers. If it had been anyone else, they would have immediately fled, and would not have dared to face it head-on. The ape also wanted to run away, but it couldn't. As a boss-level spirit beast in the 10,000 Beast Mountain range, its advantage was its strong body and strength. Its weakness was also obvious. The bigger the body, the more vulnerable it was. Therefore, when Jun Changshao attacked for the second time, the ape could only rely on its own strength to break the cyan blade light that was coming at it. Unfortunately, it couldn't do it. A deep cut appeared on its thick palm. Blood splashed out, and an intense pain spread through its body. "Ah, ah!" The ape barbarian screamed in pain. It covered its wound with its other hand and ran away with a rumble. "This blade is too scary. I have to retreat quickly." One of the spirit beasts was scared and terrified. Shwa! Jun Changshao landed on the ground. The green dragon crescent blade was stuck to the grass. Guan Yu stood proudly behind him. He didn't chase after the ape. He couldn't wait for the other party to disappear. Why? Because the two slashes had consumed a lot of spiritual energy from the spirit core. Jun Changshao knew that this big guy had a strong defense. When he attacked, he didn't hold back at all. How strong was it? If it was the patriarch of the Sacred Spring Sect, he would have been killed instantly. Who? Seeing the ape disappear from his sight, Jun Changshao heaved a sigh of relief. His face looked weak. Luckily, he scared that guy away. If he continued to fight, he would have to use the mid-grade strength increasing talisman. Sect leader Jun was not a boorish man rushing out to fight a spirit beast-level ferocious beast. He must have absolute confidence. What if the mid-grade strength increasing talisman couldn't do it? No problem. He still had 2 talismans. He could use hard to stop. As long as the enemy wasn't overwhelmingly strong and Sect Master Jun had a trump card in his hand, he shouldn't be in too much danger no matter what he did. Xiao! The green light disappeared and merged into the green dragon crescent blade. Jun Changshao came to the front of the Hurricane Wolf King and said, "I helped you deal with that big guy. According to our agreement, you have to submit to me." "Of course." He said indifferently, "If you go back on your words, I will make your tribe disappear immediately." The Hurricane Wolf King lay on the ground, its eyes filled with bitterness. This guy was able to defeat the ape barbarians, so he was also a huge threat. Ugh! It let out a low growl of compromise. The bound Hurricane Wolf King now had 2 choices. It could either submit or die. It didn't matter if he died. However, the destruction of their entire race was definitely unacceptable. Furthermore, if it wasn't for this human, their tribe would have been wiped out by the ape barbarians long ago. Therefore, they chose to submit to him out of gratitude. Outside the wolf cave, Jun Changshao sat on the back of the Hurricane Wolf King with a smile on his face. Around him, hundreds of surviving hurricane wolves were lying on the ground, lowering their heads and bowing to him. The Wolf King agreed. As an underling, he would definitely agree. Jun Changshao subduing the Hurricane Wolf King was equivalent to subduing the entire wolf pack and becoming their master. That feeling was quite satisfying. Shwa! Jun Changshao jumped down and strode into the wolf cave. From the 4 hurricane wolves he killed just now, he took out 4 5th-grade crystal cores. He could refine another 4 Gallop talismans. How wonderful! And just as he was about to leave, Jun Changshao accidentally discovered that there was a large gap in the depths of the cave due to the tremor just now. He curiously walked in and was immediately stunned by the scene in front of him. Jun Changshao was in a relatively independent large cave. Inside, there were wolf corpses everywhere. The wind crystal cores were also scattered all over the ground. The system said, "This is the Hurricane Wolf Graveyard." When beasts that lived in groups knew that their lifespan was reaching its end, they would die in a fixed area. Over time, a large graveyard would be formed. The cave that was blasted out by the 8 barbarians was the Hurricane Wolf Graveyard. Over time, not only did this graveyard gather countless Hurricane Wolf corpses, but there were also many crystal cores. I want to get rich. Jun Changshao's eyes were burning. Shwa! Shwa! With a thought, he collected all the crystal cores stored in the cave. Because there were too many crystal cores of various qualities, Jun Changshao was too lazy to differentiate them. He directly opened the talisman pavilion and tapped on the Gallop talisman. The number displayed was 86 Gallop talismans. Jun Changshao grinned. Not only did he subdue the Hurricane Wolf King and its pack, he also found so many materials to refine Gallop talismans. It was definitely a great harvest. Awo! Awo! Wolf howls could be heard from the forest. Ice Lion, who was resting, jumped up upon hearing the howls. Shwa! Shwa! Shortly, several hundred hurricane wolves rushed out from the darkness. This is troublesome. Ice Lion's eyes became serious. So many hurricane wolves suddenly rushed out without its master. If it was attacked by them, it would definitely die. Aha! Little Dragon stood up lazily. It, who could instantly kill a martial king in its battle form, looked down on wolf beasts from the bottom of its heart. Shwa! Shwa! More hurricane wolves rushed out. There were at least 800 to 900 of them. The most troublesome thing was that not only were there adult wolves in the pack, but there was also a group of wolf cubs. Ice Lion's mouth twitched slightly. Could it be that it was popular to go hunting with family members in tow? Awo! The hurricane wolves were still rushing over. Judging from their movements, they were obviously coming for Ice Lion and Little Dragon. Roar! Ice Lion roared angrily. Cold air erupted from its body. Obviously, it was ready for battle. A wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. Actually, Ice Lion and Little Dragon could escape. However, Jun Changshao had ordered them to wait here. Therefore, even if danger came, they would hold their ground. This was the spirit of the contract. Phew! Little Dragon spat out a ball of fire. Its eyes immediately became cold and fierce. With its current small body, it was definitely not a match for the hurricane wolves. Therefore, it could only use its battle form. Awo! Awo! The hurricane wolves were still rushing over at high speed. A battle was about to break out. Shwa! At this moment, an even bigger hurricane wolf leaped over with a whirlwind. Thud! It landed on the ground. The wind howled. Seeing this, Ice Lion's eyes suddenly showed a deep sense of fear. This was the Hurricane Wolf King. From the aura it emitted, its strength was definitely far above Ice Lion's. Little Dragon's expression also became solemn. Obviously, it had realized that the problem was a little serious. Whoosh whoosh! In an instant, flames 2 to 3 meters high spread out around its body. It was activating its battle form. Ice Lion was startled by the sudden rise of flames. Its eyes flickered with astonishment. In its opinion, that lizard-like guy was very weak. How could it suddenly emit such a powerful aura? Whoosh whoosh! The scorching flames were still rising. The battle form was about to change. Don't transform. Suddenly, a voice sounded, "We're on the same side." GA. The Ice Crystal Lion was startled. Little Dragon also retracted the flames that had erupted. Its eyes were filled with surprise. Shwa! The Hurricane Wolf King lowered its head slightly, revealing Jun Changshao, who was riding on its back. This, Little Dragon and Ice Lion were instantly dumbfounded. Chapter 340. An Open Space. Jun Changshao sat on a boulder, took out a map from the ring, and began to draw with a pen. He wanted to fill in the places he had just walked through, so that he could go deeper and make sure that he had not been here before. After entering the 10,000 Beast Mountain range for a few days, he had also obtained a large amount of food and resources. However, there was still enough time. Jun Changshao did not plan to leave and decided to wander around for 10 days to half a month to see if he could obtain more. Moreover, it was rare that he did not have to manage the sect, so he had to relax. Relaxing in the dangerous 10,000 Beast Mountain range was really cool. In the distance, hundreds of hurricane wolves surrounded the open space, either lying on the ground to rest or standing on the trees to guard. A pack of wolves as bodyguards was definitely awesome. Little Long Long and Ice Lion leaned on the side, their eyes still filled with surprise. They really could not understand how their master had subdued the Hurricane Wolf King and the Hurricane Wolves not long after he left. Okay. After drawing, Jun Changshao stood up and said, "Let's go." Shwa! Riding on the Hurricane Wolf King, he led the two contract beasts into the depths of the unknown forest. As for the wolves, they were temporarily placed to wait. The fifth area. Nearly 600 martial cultivators in short-sleeved clothes gathered here, their eyes filled with anger. A small team passed by and saw this formation. They were so scared that they hurriedly dodged. Leader. A martial artist said, "That brat must have entered a deeper area and has not left the 10,000 Beast Mountain range yet." In front of him stood a middle-aged man in a black robe, his whole body emitting a strong aura. This person's face was slightly gloomy, and there were 3 scars on his right eye. He looked fierce, and his head was shiny because he did not have a single strand of hair. Ho Kun. The leader of the Blood Wolf mercenary group, his strength was 5th grade Wuzong. He was very angry now, very angry. Because the third team's captain, vice-captain, and many of his subordinates were killed by a white-clothed youth. The 10,000 Beast Mountain range was equivalent to his own territory, and his subordinates were killed by others. This was a slap to his face. Brat! Ho Kun clenched his fists and said with a gloomy gaze, "Don't let me catch you, or I will definitely tear you into pieces to comfort my brother's soul in heaven." Shwa! He waved his hand and ordered, "Surround the entrance and exit." Yes! The members of the mercenary group spread out and sealed off the main entrances. Even the leader of the Blood Wolf mercenary group is here. Once the white-clothed youth is discovered, he will definitely die without a burial ground. A strong dragon cannot suppress a snake in its old haunts. Many great sects that came to the 10,000 Beast Mountain range didn't dare to offend the 10,000 Beast Mountain range. That brat killed their people, he was undoubtedly courting death. With the entrance blocked, it'll be difficult for us to enter. It's already fortunate that the guild leader didn't vent his anger on us. You still want to go in? The small teams in the distance were discussing quietly. Some people retreated, while others chose to wait for the Blood Wolf mercenary group to leave before going in to explore. The most tragic ones were the teams that had entered District 6 early. Because the exits had been sealed, they were all stuck inside. Boss. Fatty frowned. What should we do? Brother Qin thought for a moment and said, "We can only wait for them to leave before returning to Fugui town." Over the past few days, he and his team members had successfully explored the target area and obtained a lot of resources. What was even more fortunate was that they did not lose any members. Damn it! The man who had looked down on Jun Changshao earlier said angrily, "It's obviously that guy who killed them. Why didn't the Blood Wolf mercenary group look for him? Why did they seal the entrance?" That's right, that's right. Someone else agreed. They didn't look for their creditors, but blocked the entrance and didn't let us pass. How can they be reasonable? Brother Qin said, "You can go and reason with them." That person hurriedly shrank his head. He was just saying it in private. If he really went to the Blood Wolf mercenary group to reason with them, he would definitely die miserably. The man said angrily, "That guy caused trouble. He hid himself, but he caused everyone to be stuck in the forest. In my opinion, he might have left the 10,000 Beast Mountain range long ago. The Blood Wolf mercenary group has been blocking the entrance. When can we get out? Sigh, I hope there won't be any strong ferocious beasts during this period." Just after the Blood Wolf mercenary group sealed the entrance, Jun Changshao had already entered deeper into the mountain range and fought fiercely with high-ranked ferocious beasts. Because no one had set foot here, all kinds of herbs and ores could be seen everywhere. As long as sect leader Jun saw them, he would keep them in his spatial ring. The deeper he went, the higher the level of the ferocious beasts. Jun Changshao gradually lost his strength. After 4 to 5 days of exploration, he could only choose to return and meet up with the hurricane wolves waiting at the same place. "It's been almost half a month since we came here." Jun Changshao murmured, "It's time to go back." Swish! Riding on the Hurricane Wolf King, he headed toward the area marked on the map. Awo! Awo! Hundreds of hurricane wolves raised their heads and roared. Like soldiers, they lined up neatly behind him, forming a long line. "This won't do." Jun Changshao murmured, "It's a bit high profile." Following behind him was the Ice Lion, the Hurricane Wolf King, and so many hurricane wolves. This was not high profile, this was very high profile. Swish! Jun Changshao jumped down and said, "Big Wolf, let them split up and walk in the dark. Don't make a sound, and don't let other martial artists see them." The Hurricane Wolf King nodded and let out a low growl. Swish! Swish! Hundreds of hurricane wolves quickly separated and merged into the dark and dense forest. Little ice sculpture. Jun Changshao said, "You also hide in the dark." Roar! The Ice Lion received the order and withdrew its cold air and drilled into the dark forest. Everything was settled. Jun Changshao walked out the same way he came in with Little Dragon. Half an hour later. After passing through several forests, they arrived at the 6th area. Boss! Fatty, who was eating dry food, saw someone coming out of the 7th area and exclaimed, "It's that guy." Swish! Swish! Brother Qin and the other members turned around. The other small groups of martial artists gathered together also looked over. "It's really him. So that guy didn't leave. He's still in the 1000 Beast Mountain range." The Blood Wolf mercenary group blocked the exit for 5 days and finally blocked him. Everyone discussed in low voices. Jun Changshao also noticed them and wondered, "Why are you gathered together? Didn't you explore?" "Explore my ass." They were all ready to return because the Blood Wolf mercenary group was blocked here and couldn't get out. "Young friend." As soon as he walked over, Brother Qin lowered his voice and said, "The Blood Wolf mercenary group is blocking you at the entrance. Please go another way." Blood Wolf mercenary group. Jun Changshao remembered that before entering deeper areas, he had robbed the members of this group. Blocking me? How naive. Jun Changshao continued to walk straight. He didn't change his path because he was surrounded by dense forests. If he changed his path, he would have to take a long detour. This. Brother Qin was stunned. Didn't I say it clearly enough? Or did he not hear it clearly? Humph. The man said coldly, "I kindly reminded him, but he still walked forward foolishly. He's really courting death." Leader. At the entrance of the area, a member of the mercenary group who had seen Jun Changshao saw someone coming out and hurriedly shouted, "That guy came out." Ho Kun looked over and said coldly, "Let him out." Swish. The members blocking the entrance hurriedly stepped aside. Jun Changshao strode forward, but as soon as he entered the 5th area, he was immediately surrounded by more than 500 fierce-looking cultivators. Quite a big battle array. He smiled. Ho Kun sat on a stone and carefully looked at the murderer who killed the two captains. Then he inserted his long knife into the ground and said lightly, "Boy, you killed my men. How do you want to die?" "If I can choose." Jun Changshao said seriously, "I want to die of old age." Chapter 341. If I can choose, I want to die of old age. After Jun Changshao said this sentence, more than 500 members of the Blood Wolf mercenary group were collectively stunned. Ha ha ha. After a while, everyone burst into laughter. This guy wants to die of old age? Oh, I can't breathe from laughing. Is this your last joke before you die? The small team of martial artists who quietly came from the 6th area heard Jun Changshao's words, and the corners of their mouths twitched. Don't expect to die of old age, just leave a whole body. However, with the temperament of the leader of the Blood Wolf mercenary group, it was difficult to leave a whole body after killing his subordinates. Seeing them laughing so happily, Jun Changshao's mouth twitched and said, "Is it funny? Kid." Ho Kun held the hilt with one hand and said, "It's impossible to die of old age. Change the way to die. For example." Jun Changshao said. Ho Kun said, "Dismemberment by 5 horses, 1,000 cuts, skin and bones." Hearing these ways of death, the martial artists in the small team in the distance couldn't help but shudder. He was indeed ruthless. "It's a bit cruel." Jun Changshao said. "Of course." Ho Kun said, "If you kneel in front of me and beg for forgiveness, I can give you a very dignified death." Jun Changshao shook his head and said, "I don't kneel to the heavens or the earth. I only kneel to my parents who raised me." Not only himself. He hoped that his disciple had such integrity. "Oh." Ho Kun stopped in front of his subordinate and said lightly, "I didn't expect you to be so arrogant." "Leader." The subordinate next to him said, "I'll cripple him first, then press him to the ground and kowtow to you." "Okay." Ho Kun said. From the moment he saw Jun Changshao, his eyes were filled with indifference, and he didn't put him in his eyes at all. The members who had narrowly escaped death sneered. If they faced Jun Changshao alone, they would definitely be afraid. Now that the leader and brothers were here, there was nothing to be afraid of. "Go." Ho Kun waved his hand and said, "Cripple this kid." "Yes." The subordinate clenched his fists and walked over with a smirk on his face as if he was teasing a little girl. Jun Changshao asked, "How are you going to cripple me?" That person stopped 2 meters in front of him and laughed sinisterly. "Of course, I'll crush your hand bones and break your leg bones. Then, I'll cut your tendons." "I see." Shwa. That person suddenly reached out and grabbed. Paw. Crack. The sound of bones breaking could be heard. Since the Blood Wolf mercenary group members were surrounding them, Brother Qin and the others couldn't see it from afar. But when they heard the commotion, they knew that the kid was in trouble. Ah! Screams that sounded like pigs being slaughtered could be heard. Everyone was stunned. This scream didn't seem to have come from the white-clothed youth. Or was it because of the pain that her voice changed? Many martial artists hurriedly tilted their bodies and heads. With the help of the gaps in the crowd, they could finally see clearly. The person who screamed was not the young man in white, but a member of the Blood Wolf mercenary group. His hands were tightly clasped by Jun Changshao, and they were bent. It was obvious that his hands had been broken. Everyone's mouth twitched. In such a dangerous situation, he still dared to hurt a member of the Blood Wolf mercenary group. That guy was really fierce. Bang! Bang! Jun Changshao suddenly kicked out with his right foot and accurately kicked the ankle of the man who was being controlled. Crack! The crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard again. Ah! Ah! His subordinates' painful screams were raised by quite a few decibels. No wonder Jun Changshao asked how to cripple him. It turned out that he wanted to cripple him in the same way. Everyone shuddered at once. The bones of his hands and feet were all broken. Even if they could be fixed, it would greatly affect his martial arts in the future. Bang! Jun Changshao kicked the man again and sent him flying. Clang, clang! In the next second, the members of the Blood Wolf mercenary group took out their swords and sabers. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. Ho Kun's face was gloomy and murderous. "Kid, you dare to fight back? Fine, fine," he said coldly, "even if you kneel down and break your head, I will cut you into pieces today." With that, he waved his hand. The members of the Blood Wolf mercenary group received the order and waved their swords and sabers. They were about to chop this guy into meat paste. "Wait!" Jun Changshao shouted. Everyone instinctively stopped. Ho Kun said, "Any last words?" Jun Changshao touched his chin and said, "I will give you and your men a choice now." "Give me and my men a choice?" Ho Kun was stunned and sneered. "What choice?" Jun Changshao said, "Be killed by me or become food for the beasts." These words caused everyone to be confused. "Ha ha ha." Ho Kun laughed and said contemptuously, "Kid, you have the ability to kill so many of my brothers alone. If you want to die like this." Jun Changshao said, "I really have the ability." He wasn't acting tough, nor was he bragging. He really did have the ability. Arrogant. Ho Kun said impatiently, "Hurry up and chop this guy into pieces and throw him into the forest to feed the beasts." Just based on this sentence. Jun Changshao said coldly, "I will feed all of you to the beasts today." "Aya." Ho Kun pretended to be scared and said, "Your eyes are scaring me to death. What are you waiting for?" He returned to his cold expression and said, "Hurry up and do it." "Leader. Leader." A subordinate pointed to the dark forest in front and said with a trembling voice, "There. There are beasts." Ho Kun kicked him in the butt and scolded, "Have you never seen a beast before?" At this moment, he found that the other subordinates also showed fear, so he scolded, "Look at all of you, how are you going to follow me in the future?" As he spoke, he turned his head and looked. The expression on his face suddenly froze and his mouth gradually opened. Ta! In the dark forest, a hurricane wolf stepped out of the whirlpool step by step. Wasn't it just a wolf beast? Had Ho Kun and his subordinates not seen it before? They must have seen it before. However, there was not only one wolf beast, but a large group of them. Ta! Ta! Hurricane wolves with blue eyes walked out of the darkness. There were so many of them that it was difficult to estimate in a short period of time. What was even more terrifying was that in the wolf pack, there was a wolf beast with a majestic physique. It was obviously the king of wolves. "Leader," a subordinate swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said with a trembling hand, "This is a hurricane wolf pack." Ho Kun said in disbelief, "Aren't such powerful wolves in the deepest part? How could they appear in the fifth area?" Whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, a cold wind blew from the side, causing everyone to feel a chill on their backs. He turned around stiffly and saw a lion beast with a body that seemed to be made of ice, walking out of the darkness while spitting out cold air. "This is," Ho Kun said in shock, "Ice Lion." Hiss! His subordinates all sucked in a breath of cold air. There was a hurricane wolf pack on the left and an ice lion on the right. The situation was very bad for him. "Everyone." Jun Changshao raised his hand and said, "Please be at ease and become their food." Paw! He snapped his fingers. Chapter 342. Awo! The Hurricane Wolf King stood still and raised its head to give orders. Howl! Howl! 700 to 800 hurricane wolves roared and rushed over. The wind swirled under their feet, forming a turbulent wave. The members of the Blood Wolf mercenary group were so scared that their legs turned to jelly. There were many of them, but their average cultivation was only at the 5th or 6th grade of martial disciple. How could they be compared with the hurricane wolves that were at least at the 5th grade of martial disciple? Ho Kun could still keep calm. He said in horror, "Are you controlling these beasts? Or else?" Jun Changshao said. Ho Kun was even more frightened. Impossible, impossible, how could a human control the Hurricane Wolf King and the Hurricane Wolves? Unless it was his contract beast. But it was a beast comparable to Wuzong at the peak. Without the same strength, how could he sign a contract with it? Could it be? Ho Kun's heart was beating wildly. He was secretly shocked. He is Wuzong at the peak? Pucci. At this moment, the Hurricane Wolf in the front rushed over in the blink of an eye. It directly knocked one of his men to the ground and bit his throat. Whoosh! Whoosh! One by one, the Hurricane Wolves rushed over crazily. The members of the Blood Wolf mercenary group were like motionless scarecrows. They were easily pressed down and then mercilessly bitten. It was not that they didn't want to run, but they had no chance. After all, the Hurricane Wolves were wind-type beasts that were known for their speed. Ah, ah, screams resounded in the forest. The small teams in the 4th and 6th areas had already fled in fear. There were so many Hurricane Wolves and an Ice Lion. If they were targeted, even 10 lives would not be enough to kill them. Boss! The fat man said in horror, "How could such wolves that live in the depths of the mountains appear here?" "How would I know?" Brother Qin said. The man said in horror, "The Hurricane Wolves are faster than the Gale Wolves. If they target the Blood Wolf mercenary group, none of them will be able to escape. Forget about the Blood Wolf mercenary group. Let's hide quickly to avoid being discovered by the wolves." Brother Qin and his companions hurriedly retreated to the previous exploration area. The other small teams also hid and secretly prayed that they would not be discovered by the Hurricane Wolves. Otherwise, they would end up as food. 10 minutes later. There were no more screams coming from the 5th area because all the members of the Blood Wolf mercenary group had been killed by the Hurricane Wolves. Hundreds of corpses were strewn about chaotically, and blood had gathered into a river. The scene was extremely horrifying. The members of the Blood Wolf mercenary group, who were only martial disciples or primary martial masters, were not worth mentioning in front of the Hurricane Wolves. Seeing all his subordinates die, Ho Kun was completely powerless. This was because he was not only being stared at by the Hurricane Wolf King, but also by the Ice Lion. Although he had a 5th-grade Wuzong, in front of a Wind-type dire beast and an Ice-type dire beast, it was really not enough. Hoo-hoo! Hundreds of Hurricane Wolves trotted over, surrounding Ho Kun with 3 layers of encirclement. 10 minutes ago, Jun Changshao was surrounded by his subordinates. 10 minutes later, he was surrounded by a pack of Hurricane Wolves. 10 minutes ago, he pretended to be scared in front of Jun Changshao. 10 minutes later, he was really scared in front of Jun Changshao. It was not an act at all. This turn of events was completely unexpected. Are you satisfied? Jun Changshao walked over and stopped in front of the Hurricane Wolf King. He gently stroked its mane without any expression on his face. Seeing this, Ho Kun's mouth twitched violently. The Wolf King did not have any reaction when a human stroked its mane. If the Wolf King still did not believe that it was controlled by him, there was really something wrong with his brain. Young friend. Ho Kun swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said in horror, "I think there is a misunderstanding between us." When he was fierce, he called him young friend. When he was scared, he called him young friend. How annoying. Jun Changshao said indifferently, "Since it is a misunderstanding, kneel down and kowtow a few times, and I will spare your life." Plop! As soon as he finished speaking, Ho Kun directly knelt on the ground and said, "I was blind and offended you. Please be magnanimous and spare my life." Dong! 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 He kowtowed 3 times in a row, and it was very hard. His forehead was red and swollen. Jun Changshao was a little confused. This person was, after all, the leader of the mercenary group and a martial ancestor. How could he kneel just because he was told to? Did he have any dignity left? Ho Kun cared about his face. However, he cared about his face because he was stronger than others. When he learned that his subordinates were killed by a young man, he felt like he was slapped in the face, so he brought his subordinates to kill. This was based on being stronger than others. When he realized that Jun Changshao could control the hurricane wolves, he lost his face instantly. As long as he could live. Face? Dignity? He could give up all of them. This was Ho Kuen's way of survival. It was also the reason why he gradually gathered a group of subordinates and dominated the 10,000 Beast Mountain range. A shameless person is invincible in the world. Jun Changshao sighed. Young friend. After kowtowing, Ho Kuen said, "Are you satisfied?" Jun Changshao walked over, looked down at him, and said, "For a man like you who can bend and stand tall, if I let you go, who knows what will happen in the future?" Ho Kuen's expression changed slightly, and he hurriedly said, "Let me live, and I will retire from the martial arts world." Clang! The sword was unsheathed, and a cold light flashed. Jun Changshao appeared behind Ho Kuen, and the middle-grade cold light sword was stained with a drop of blood. He said, "Can you still retreat after entering the martial arts world?" These words seemed to be spoken to himself. From the moment he transmigrated to the Falling Star continent and became the leader of the Iron Bone clan, it was equivalent to stepping into the martial arts world. Either he killed or he was killed. Swoosh! A sword mark appeared on Ho Kuen's neck. Deep in the blood, his eyes were filled with disbelief. He had already kowtowed. Why couldn't he let him go? And, his sword was so fast that he couldn't see his movements clearly. As expected, Ho Kuen tried hard to make a sound. "It's an expert," plop. His body tilted and he fell to the ground. Hundreds of subordinates died, and so did Ho Kuen. From this moment on, the Blood Wolf mercenary group was eliminated from the martial arts world. To be honest, if he had shown a little more toughness, Jun Changshao might have spared him. But this kind of shameless and undignified behavior deeply disgusted him, so he gave him a dignified death. There's no movement. Could it be that the hurricane wolves have left? Fortunately, they didn't come here. Otherwise, everyone would have died. The small team that had been hiding in the 6th area for 4 hours didn't hear the wolf howls for a long time. They all gathered their courage and came out. "Let's go." Brother Qin said, "Let's go and take a look." Everyone walked toward the entrance of the 5th area in fear. When they saw the hundreds of corpses of the Blood Wolf mercenary group members, they all gasped. They had seen dead people and killed people. But it was rare to see so many people die in one area. Brother Qin frowned and said, "There's no corpse of the young man in white." "Brother Qin, why are you still caring about him?" Fatty hurriedly said, "Let's leave quickly, in case the hurricane wolves come back. We can't stay here for long." Brother Qin made a prompt decision and said, "Let's go." The other small teams had returned one after another. Those who were blocked outside the 4th area and wanted to explore had already slipped away. Because of the appearance of the hurricane wolves, it was destined that for a long time, no one would dare to easily enter this area. Thinking of a valiant mercenary group, including the leader, being killed, the people on the way back still couldn't calm down. Blood Wolf mercenary group. If he died in a pack of wolves, he would be worthy of the name Blood Wolf. However, with so many corpses, why weren't they taken away? Could it be that the hurricane wolves only killed people and had no interest in eating people? Chapter 343. Brother Qin and the rest of the small team were frightened and walked out of the 10,000 Beast Mountain range. Perhaps the warriors who came out first had spread the news, but there was no one at the entrance to form a team. The hurricane wolves that were comparable to the martial master suddenly appeared in the 5th area and destroyed the Blood Wolf mercenary group. At this time, who would still stand at the entrance with a silly face? "Boss." Fatty said, "We came out alive." "Yeah, I can't believe it." The other members relaxed a little. The wolf's sense of smell was very sharp. To be able to hide in the 6th area without being discovered by them, this was definitely a narrow escape. Brother Qin muttered, speaking of which, it's strange. Why did the corpse of the white-clothed youth disappear? The man said, maybe that guy's meat was fragrant. He didn't take the mercenary, but took his corpse instead. In that case, Fatty said, he's quite unlucky. Brother Qin shook his head and said, the high-level vicious beasts have appeared in the low-level areas. Let's not go in for the time being. With that, he led the members back to the town. This trip was quite fruitful and could be used by everyone for a period of time. He did not consider entering the 10,000 Beast Mountain range for the time being. On the streets of Fugui town, many warriors were gathered. At this moment, they were all discussing what had happened in the fifth area. Half of their gazes were filled with fear, while the other half was filled with joy. Fear was because the hurricane wolves were high-level vicious beasts. Logically speaking, they shouldn't appear in the low-level areas. Joy was because the Blood Wolf mercenary group's leader and members were all dead. This meant that no one would come to rob them in the future. The hurricane wolves were getting rid of evil for the people. However, after discussion, everyone gave this honor to the white-clothed youth. If he hadn't killed the members of the Blood Wolf mercenary group, Ho Kun wouldn't have brought his men to block him, and the wolves wouldn't have been completely annihilated. Sigh, what a pity. Brother Qin said, I don't know the name of that hero, or else I would have given him a cenotaph. Fatty scratched his head and said, Boss, why don't we name it after the white-clothed youth? All right. Brother Qin led the members to the clothing store, planning to buy a set of white clothes and then set up a stone tablet to collect the youth's corpse. However, when he passed by an inn and looked inside intentionally or unintentionally, he suddenly stopped in his tracks. His expression stiffened and his eyes were filled with disbelief. The fatty and the man were at a loss. Following their boss's gaze, they were also dumbstruck. In the dining hall of the inn, directly opposite the door, a young man in white was slowly eating his food and wine. Boss! The fatty exclaimed, Is it him? Brother Qin hurriedly rubbed his eyes to make sure that he wasn't seeing things. He said in horror, It looks like him. Oh my God! Fatty was about to faint. He's still alive? He's not dead? The corner of the man's mouth twitched. The Blood Wolf mercenaries are all dead. How can he still be alive? Who is this him? That's right, our sect leader Jun. When the hurricane wolves appeared, Brother Qin and the others were scared away. Therefore, they didn't know that the high-level beasts that appeared in the low-level area were summoned by Jun Changshao. Ho Kun was the only one who knew the truth. Unfortunately, he was already dead. Boss! Fatty guessed, could it be that they look alike? That's possible, Brother Qin said. He did not dare to imagine that the white-clothed youth could escape from the pack of wolves. Therefore, the person who was eating inside might not be the same person even if they looked alike. Thinking about it this way, everything made sense. It wasn't that shocking anymore. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, Jun Changshao paid the bill and left. He saw Brother Qin and smiled. What a coincidence. We meet again. Gah! Everyone was stunned again. That voice and that sentence met again. It was definitely the white-clothed youth they met in the 10,000 Beast Mountain range. He's not dead. He's really still alive. While Brother Qin and the others were shocked and felt like they were dreaming, Jun Changshao had already left. He walked out of the town and summoned the Hurricane Wolf King. Then, he rode on its back and headed back to Azure Sun County. Whoa! Hundreds of hurricane wolves followed behind. The scene was spectacular. Sect leader Jun insisted on keeping a low profile. Therefore, on the way back to the sect, he chose to travel through the wilderness. This trip to the 10,000 Beast Mountain range lasted for more than half a month. The resources Jun Changshao obtained far exceeded that of Death Valley. Not to mention the herbs and ores, he had refined more than 80 sprint talismans. Ho Kun, the leader of the mercenary group, was also very rich. Not only was there a large amount of gold, silver, and materials in his interspatial ring, but there were also more than 100 spirit stones. Awesome! On the way, Jun Changshao shouted. What was even more awesome was that he obtained a lot of resources. He even signed a contract with an ice lion and subdued the Hurricane Wolf King and its wolf pack. The long ancient road is long and endless. Only the camel is still busy. In the wilderness, Jun Changshao's joyful singing could be heard. Iron Bone Clan. In front of the mountain gate, Zhong Yi and the others stood facing the cold wind with interesting expressions. They had rushed over a few days ago, but why didn't they go in and drink the northwest wind here? Because there was a sect protecting array. Jun Changshao had forgotten that he had activated the array before he left. Therefore, Zhong Yi and his brothers could only stand in the wind in confusion. Everyone. Li Qingyang stood in the array and said, "Please go to Azure Sun Village and wait." "It's fine." Zhong Yi said, "It's the same if we wait here." As a righteous person, since he said that he wanted to join the Iron Bone clan, he would definitely show enough sincerity. Whoa! Suddenly, wolf howls came from the foot of the mountain. Zhong Yi's expression changed. He hurried to the stairs and looked down. He saw wolf beasts rushing up on whirlwinds. "This is," he said in shock, "hurricane wolves." Ah! The other members' expressions changed when they heard that. As itinerant cultivators, they naturally knew that hurricane wolves were high-level beasts. "Quick! Quick!" Zhong Yi said, "Hide." But, the mountain gate was only so big. Where could they hide? It's over, it's over. Zhong Yi's heart was filled with despair. He and his brothers didn't die in the 10,000 Beast Mountain range, but died outside. This was too unlucky. Swoosh! At this moment, a hurricane wolf with a majestic physique was the first to rush forward, and then landed steadily in front of everyone. This was the Hurricane Wolf King. Just as Zhong Yi's expression became extremely ugly, he was shocked to see someone sitting on the back of the Hurricane Wolf. And that person was Sect leader Jun. Jun Changshao said, "Why aren't you going in? Why are you standing in front of the mountain gate?" Smack! He thought of something and slapped his forehead. I forgot, I activated the Sect protection formation." With a thought, he temporarily removed the array. As for Zhong Yi and his brothers, they were still in a daze. That's not right. Wasn't Sect leader Jun's contract beast the Ice Lion? Why did it change to the Hurricane Wolf King, which was even stronger? Don't just stand there. Jun Changshao said, "Come in with me." Zhong Yi came back to his senses and hurriedly led his brothers in. Just as they entered, the hurricane wolves behind them rushed up and gathered outside the martial arts field, squatting obediently. "Oh my God!" Su Xiaoma hurriedly ran over and kept a distance from the group of majestic hurricane wolves. He said with a face full of shock, "Sect leader, what's going on?" Jun Changshao said, "I've prepared mounts for you." Mounts? The disciples who surrounded them were instantly excited. This kind of wolf beast with a whirlwind gathering under its feet was simply too cool. If he could ride it out, it would definitely be eye-catching. Zhong Yi and his brothers' mouths twitched. To be able to use high-level hurricane wolves as mounts for disciples, how awesome was this? Chapter 344. The reason why Jun Changshao brought the hurricane wolves back to the sect was to use them as mounts for the disciples. If one could control this kind of extremely fast wind-type beast well, not to mention riding it out to show off, just traveling would be very satisfying. To put it bluntly, Jun Changshao felt that since he had the Hurricane Wolf King as a tool, he would definitely have to arrange it for his disciples. If he wanted to show off, he would show off together. If he wanted to travel, he would travel together. Where could he find such a considerate sect leader who was so considerate of his disciples? Su Xiaoma stood in front of a hurricane wolf, touched its fur with his hand, and grinned, so soft, so comfortable. Although the hurricane wolf was unhappy, it did not dare to show its ferocious side. Not to mention that Jun Changshao, who was controlling the Wolf King, was here. Just from the aura of this disciple, he was an existence that he could not afford to offend. That's right. If they really fought, Su Xiaoma would be able to kick it until it couldn't take care of itself. Since it had submitted to Jun Changshao, and the Iron Bone disciples were very strong, the hurricane wolf could only behave obediently. Shwa! Su Xiaoma rode on it without hesitation, patted his neck, and said, let's go for a walk on the mountain. Roar! The hurricane wolf let out a low roar, stepped on the whirlwind, and rushed out of the sect with a whoosh. Seeing this, Li Fei and Tian Qi hurriedly rode one each and chased after it. Shwa! Shwa! Long Xiang, Yang Yuhua, and the others also chose one. For a time, dozens of hurricane wolves ran wildly at the stairs of the mountain gate, and then drilled into the depths of Iron Bone Mountain. This could be said to be galloping wolves, sharing the prosperity of the world, singing the joy in their hearts while drinking wine. Su Xiaoma and the others had strong cultivation bases, so they were fearless. The new disciples were generally weak, so they could only stand in front of the training field and look at the wolf beasts from afar. Of course, there were 2,000 Iron Bone disciples, and only 800 or 900 hurricane wolves. It was definitely not enough. Qingyang. Jun Changshao said, these people will stay in the sect for the time being. You're in charge of making the necessary arrangements. He really wanted to accept Zhong Yi as his disciple, but the number of members was already full. Therefore, they could only let these people stay for the time being and wait for the sect's construction to improve before recruiting them. Yes. Li Qingyang said, please follow me. All right. Zhong Yi and the others hurriedly followed after him, their minds still unable to calm down. He had never heard of a high-grade hurricane wolf being used as a mount for a disciple. He didn't even dare to think about it. Awesome. Too awesome. Brother E. Along the way, a young man exclaimed in shock, Sect Master Jun is too powerful. You can actually subdue the hurricane wolves. Zhong Yi said seriously, if not, can you defeat the Sacred Spring Sect? That's true, that's true. Everyone immediately felt relieved. As they followed Li Qingyang, they sized up the Grand Hall, and their hearts were filled with excitement. It was too unreal to become a member of such a valiant sect with great potential. Zhong Yi was also very shocked. He wasn't shocked by the hurricane wolves or the Grand Hall, but by Li Qingyang who was leading the way. This person was younger than him by a few years. He couldn't tell from his aura that he was a martial master, but his intuition told him that if they fought, he wouldn't be a match for him. Especially those disciples who surrounded the hurricane wolves. Although his level was low, his aura was very strong. He was definitely not an ordinary martial disciple. This Iron Bone clan was full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Zhong Yi hadn't seen Xiao Ziji and Yi Xingchen who were cultivating in the Tower of Experience. Otherwise, he would be deeply shocked. Phew! In the hall, Jun Changshao sat on the sect master's seat and reclined. Home is still the most comfortable. Ding! 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 Sect contribution points, 21002000. Ding! Sect contribution points, 22002000. Ding! Sect contribution points overflow. Hearing the notification, Jun Changshao was stunned. The system said, the host has left the sect. The disciple is still doing the mission. As the distance is too far, I can't receive the notification. Jun Changshao came to a realization and said, I was wondering why I didn't hear the notification when I was training in the 10,000 Beast Mountain range. So this is the reason. At that time, he was still thinking. After he left, those little bastards didn't do the mission because they were lazy. In fact, 10 days after Jun Changshao left, all the sect missions were completed by the disciples. As the host, he wasn't in the sect, so the notifications and rewards were temporarily piled up. This wasn't. Not long after he entered the sect, he erupted like a geyser. This meant that for sect missions, only the host was in the sect to receive the notification and receive the rewards. Of course, the disciples were not restricted. As long as they completed the mission, they would receive the corresponding rewards. The sect members are full, and the achievement value is also full. Then, Jun Changshao hurriedly opened the data panel. Sure enough, the upgradable button had appeared on the sect construction. This is a surprise for me. Without hesitation, he hurriedly pressed it. Ding! The sect construction is upgraded to level 5. Ding! The upper limit of sect members, contribution points, and achievement value has increased. Ding! The sect Spirit Beast Pavilion has been activated. After the notification sounded, the system data panel suddenly changed. Sect name, Iron Bone Jing Sect Leader, Jun Changsha Sect Level, 7th Rate Sect Construction, Level 5 Sect Functions, Medicine Refining Pavilion, Smithing Pavilion, Talisman Pavilion, Spirit Beast Pavilion Sect Cultivation Technique, Yijin Jing, Divine Grade, Early Level. Cloud Steps, High Grade, Early Level, Telepathy, Middle Grade, High Grade. Sect Members, 2000500. Sect Contribution Points, 2100500. Sect Achievement Value, 2005000. Sect Main Mission, within 100 years, the upper limit increased from 2,000 to 5,000. Jun Changshao was very satisfied. After all, if he was full, he could buy it 5 times in the mid-level store. That was not the main point. The main point was the Spirit Beast Pavilion that was opened after the upgrade. Sect Leader. Ready to open it, Li Qingyang arranged for Zhong Yi and the others, walked into the main hall and said, "How do we settle these wolf beasts?" The sect leader brought nearly 1,000 hurricane wolves. Although they could be used as mounts for everyone, they couldn't just squat in the sect. Jun Changshao touched his chin and said, "We can draw an area for the hurricane wolves to live in." Right. His eyes lit up and said, "We can let them settle down in the isolation array in the mountain. Firstly, it can be considered returning to nature. Secondly, it can protect the array and not be easily approached by outsiders." Good idea. Li Qingyang agreed. Jun Changshao immediately made the arrangements. Whoa! After the Gale Wolf King received the order, it raised its head and roared. Then, it led the wolf pack to the depths of Iron Bone Mountain and found a cave to settle down in the isolation array area. Not only could it be used as a mount, it could also be used to guard the house. It was definitely killing 2 birds with 1 stone. However, the system suddenly poured cold water on him and said, "These hurricane wolves have a big appetite. It will definitely cost the host a lot of money to raise them." This, Jun Changshao frowned. Such a powerful high-level beast, raising them was no different from raising a group of Tibetan mastiffs. Chapter 345. Although the Iron Bone Mountain was very big, it was not a dangerous place, and there were only animals inside. The so-called animals were ordinary tigers, leopards, jackals, and wolves. They were very fierce on Earth, but in the falling star continent, they could easily trample on level 3 to 5 meridians. In particular, the little dragon had been wandering in the mountains for a while and ate a lot. Now that the hurricane wolves had moved in, there was definitely not enough food. Without food, how could he guard the house? I have to think of a way. Jun Changshao began to think and came up with an idea. I can buy a lot of poultry, such as chickens, ducks, cows, and sheep, and put them all in the forest and let them reproduce on their own. The system said, "How much does the host have to buy to feed nearly 1,000 hurricane wolves?" Jun Changshao was silent. Some things could not be done just by thinking about it. Let's not worry about it for now. Throwing away distracting thoughts, he opened the data panel. He did not click on the Spirit Beast Pavilion, but first clicked on the sect construction. Jun Changshao clearly remembered that after the construction was upgraded to level 5, more functions would appear. As expected. On the small panel, there were no more functions at the Spirit Beast Pavilion, but now there were many higher-level functions listed. Sect Construction Level 6, Spirit Pavilion. Sect Construction Level 7, Cultivation Technique Pavilion. Sect Construction Level 8, Lingyan Pavilion. Sect Construction Level 9, Divine Weapon Pavilion. There was a small line of words at the back. The subsequent functions can only be seen when the sect construction is upgraded to level 9. The corner of Jun Changxiao's mouth twitched. Can't you just list it all out and let me see it clearly? Must you learn from the unscrupulous author in the martial arts world and keep me in suspense? The first 5 functions of the system could also be seen from their names. For example, the Pill Pavilion and Forging Pavilion. At a glance, it was obvious that they were related to pills and weapons. But what the hell was the Spirit Pavilion after level 6? Do you know? Jun Changxiao said. The system said, I don't know. Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. Level 7 Cultivation Technique Pavilion. Jun Changxiao could roughly guess that it was related to martial arts cultivation methods. As for Level 8 Lingyan Pavilion, he was confused again. In the Tang dynasty, Li Shimin, in order to commend the meritorious ministers who had fought together with him, drew their portraits and hung them high in the pavilion. They were known as the 24 meritorious ministers of the Lingyan Pavilion. Jun Changxiao murmured. Not bad, the system said. Could it be? Jun Changxiao's eyes flashed as he said, there are 24 meritorious ministers of the Tang dynasty in this Lingyan Pavilion? You can summon them after it's activated? Those who could enter the Lingyan Pavilion were all famous officials and generals, such as Li Jing, Qin Qiong, Cheng Yaojin, and Yu Qigong. If they were to be summoned, not to mention developing the sect, conquering the world would not be a problem. The system said, the host's imagination is really wild. What is the Divine Weapon Pavilion? Were divine weapons referring to divine weapons or divine soldiers and celestial generals? If it was referring to the heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals, then it was similar to summoning. It obviously overlapped with the functions of the Lingyan Pavilion. The system was speechless. The host hasn't even reached level 6, and you're already thinking about level 9. Isn't it a little too early? You're right. Jun Changxiao stopped guessing and tapped on the Spirit Beast Pavilion. A small panel appeared, but there was no 3D projection like the alchemy furnace or casting table. It was completely empty. However, there were a few lines of words at the bottom of the panel, respectively Beginner Wind Riding Technique, Beginner Fire Rain Technique, Beginner Thunder Crash Technique, Beginner Earth Technique, Beginner Beast Pill. Jun Changxiao said with a confused face, what does this mean? Tap on it to see the introduction, the system said. Jun Changxiao did as he was told and tapped on the wind riding technique. The introduction appeared. Beast Skill, Beginner Wind Riding Technique. Effect, allows contracted beasts to comprehend the beginner wind riding technique. Requirements, Wind Type Beast 0 to 1, Wind Type Middle 9th Grade Cores 60 tenths. The Comprehend button that appeared at the back was grayed out. It was obvious that the conditions were not met and could not be comprehended. He tapped on the Beginner Fire Rain Technique again. Beast Skill, Beginner Fire Rain Technique. Effect, allows contracted beasts to comprehend the Beginner Fire Rain Technique. Requirements, Fire Type Beast 1/1, Fire Type Middle 9th Grade Cores 10 out of 10. The Comprehend button at the back was bright. Jun Changxiao muttered, Little Long Long is a fire-type beast and obtained a fire-type core in the 10,000 Beast Mountain range, so it meets the conditions to comprehend? That's right, the system said. Actually, it knew the function of the Spirit Beast Hall, but it didn't tell the host so that he wouldn't rely on it too much and would explore on his own. Jun Changxiao tapped on the Beginner Thunder Crash Technique again. Because he had a contracted beast, the Purple Lightning Tiger Cub, which met the requirements for a lightning-type beast, but didn't have 10 middle 9th grade lightning-type cores, the Comprehend button was grayed out. Seeing this, Sect leader Jun finally understood. The so-called Spirit Beast Hall's function was to allow contracted beasts to comprehend skills. The effect doesn't seem to be too good, Jun Changxiao said. The system was speechless. You haven't even let your contracted beast comprehend and you're already saying that it doesn't have much effect. Isn't that too arbitrary? Alright. Jun Changshao returned to the beginner fire rain technique and said, then let's try it. He tapped on the comprehend button. GA. The fire dragon lying on his back suddenly stiffened, as if it had entered a sluggish state. A moment later, the little guy came back to its senses, and its eyes were filled with surprise. Strange. How did I comprehend a fire-type skill out of nowhere? Jun Changshao said, there's no change. Shwa. The little dragon suddenly rushed out and stood on the martial arts practice field. Its entire body instantly erupted with scorching flames. Jun Changshao said, you want to change your battle form? Hoo. The scorching flames were still rising crazily, and the surrounding temperature was rising rapidly. Swish! 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 Suddenly, balls of fire erupted from the flames and shot out in all directions. The scene was quite spectacular. Could it be, Jun Changshao said in shock, this is the beginner fire rain technique? Bang! 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 The fireballs landed on the stone slabs of the martial arts practice field, and immediately exploded into dense charred pits. Jun Changshao said, the strength of each fireball is at least 50,000 jin. The little dragon was at the middle first grade when it didn't activate its battle form. To be able to release a fireball of 50,000 jin was equivalent to an ordinary peak martial master. Incredible, incredible. The system said, this is the beginner fire rain technique. It can allow the fire-type beast to quickly control it and use it directly. Awesome! Jun Changshao was amazed. Just by pressing the button, he could comprehend it without having to cultivate seriously. It was absolutely awesome. Hoo. The little dragon liked the fire rain technique very much. It released flames again and bombarded the martial arts practice field. However, after 3 explosions, it fell to the ground exhausted and twitched all over. The beginner fire rain technique was very awesome. It could bring about explosive combat power, but it also consumed a lot of energy. Jun Changshao pressed the beginner earth technique again. The conditions showed, 1/2 earth-type beast, 3,210 earth-type middle 9th grade crystal cores. The comprehension button was bright. That's not right. Jun Changshao said in shock, I didn't sign a contract with the Hurricane Wolf King, and the beginner wind technique didn't have a wind-type beast. How could the beginner earth technique have an earth-type beast? The system said, don't forget, the host still has a contract beast. There's more. Ice Lion. That was obviously an ice-type beast. How could it be related to the earth-type? No. Suddenly, Jun Changshao thought of something. His expression suddenly became dull, and he said in shock, Wild boar Peppa. Chapter 346. Jun Changshao currently had 4 contract beasts. Apart from the little dragon, 2 of the other 3 relied on the gate palm ball and 1 signed the contract personally. The ice lion was an ice-type dire beast, there was no doubt about that. The little dragon and the violet lightning tiger corresponded to fire and thunder. Therefore, Peppa the wild boar was the only one who could comprehend the elementary earth technique. Relying on the elementary gate palm ball to subdue his first contract beast, Jun Changshao didn't have much of a presence. It was understandable. Other than being able to roar, it had no combat power at all. Look at the violet lightning tiger cub, the ice lion, and the little dragon, all of them were stronger than it. This means, Jun Changshao's mouth twitched. Peppa the wild boar is an earth-type dire beast? Wrong. The system corrected him. It's an earth-type phantom beast. That's right. No matter how weak Peppa the wild boar was, it was still a phantom beast. Since the conditions are met, let it comprehend. Jun Changshao pressed the comprehend button and took out the elementary gate palm ball. Go, gate palm ball. Swoosh. Bang. Peppa the wild boar appeared on the training field and lay on the ground lazily, as if it hadn't woken up from its sleep. Jun Changshao was speechless. What was the use of summoning it when he was about to engage in a life-and-death battle with the enemy? Coo, coo. Peppa the wild boar stood up slowly, its eyes full of confusion, as if it was saying, "Master, why did you summon me?" Jun Changshao almost couldn't help but use the green dragon crescent blade to kill it, fry it, and steam it. "Don't just stand there," he ordered. "Release the skill you just learned." Peppa the wild boar understood. The laziness in its eyes disappeared and was replaced by seriousness. "That's right. This is my contract beast." Sect leader Jun was very curious. What kind of skill was the elementary earth technique? From the name, it should be a defense-type skill, right? Puff! Suddenly, a sound was heard. Peppa the wild boar's buttocks emitted a foul air. Jun Changshao was instantly petrified. "I asked it to release a skill and it released a fart. If you want to fart, then fart. What's the meaning of you lying on the ground sleeping again?" Page Boar tried hard. However, even after trying so hard to fart, he still couldn't activate the elementary firm earth spell. Thus, due to his personality, he directly gave up. "Sect leader, calm down, calm down. Sect leader, that's your contracted beast, how could you bear to kill it? Sect leader, put down the saber. We can talk this out." On the training field, Li Qingyang and the others desperately hugged Jun Changshao, who was holding the green dragon crescent blade. Peppa Wild Boar had no idea that its owner was going to kill it. It was still sleeping on the ground with a big bubble forming in its nostrils. "Ah!" Jun Changshao shouted. Bang! The green dragon crescent blade flew over and stabbed into Peppa the wild boar's big nose, waking it up instantly. It was so scared that it crawled into the gate palm ball. Sect leader Jun was so angry that he almost vomited blood. If he had known earlier, he would have thrown it more accurately and killed this useless contract beast. The other three contracted beasts were all rare ferocious beasts, each more powerful than the other. Only Peppa the wild boar disappointed Jun Changshao greatly. There was no other way. Since it was his first contracted beast, he could only keep it. Under the persuasion of the disciples, Jun Changshao calmed down and kept the gate palm ball in his spatial ring. He thought to himself, "I won't take it out to embarrass myself in the future." Phew! Sitting on the sect leader's throne in the main hall, he opened the panel of the Spirit Beast Hall and clicked on the Elementary Beast Pill. Item: Elementary Beast Pill. Effect: a type of nutritious pill. After a ferocious beast takes it, it can quickly replenish its energy and will not feel hungry for 10 days. Requirements: 1,564,701 pounds of beast meat, 1 stalk of hunger grass. Fuck! Jun Changshao widened his eyes and said, "This is good." System: it just poured cold water on the hurricane wolf's appetite and said that it would cost a lot of money, but it was slapped in the face again. There's a lot of meat, but it lacks hunger grass. Jun Changshao touched his chin and said, "I'll go to the city to take a look later." "Qin Yang," he said, "call Zhongyi and the others over." The construction had increased by 5 levels, and the upper limit of the members had increased. He had to recruit them. Yes. Not long after, Zhongyi and his 13 brothers came to the main hall. They registered their names one by one and stamped the seal of the sect. Everyone successfully became disciples of the Iron Bone clan. They did not disappoint Jun Changshao. Zhongyi, who valued friendship and loyalty, was not only a 7th grade martial master, but also a spirit root of the highest grade. It would be very difficult to recruit such an outstanding genius. Ding! Sect member, 201450000. Ding! Sect contribution points, 210050000. Qin Yang. Jun Changshao said, "Give them uniforms and sect rules, and arrange rooms for the disciples." Yes. Li Qingyang left with Zhongyi and the others. Sect leader Jun muttered, this spirit beast hall can only allow one's contracted beast to learn skills. It doesn't seem to have much use. The use he was talking about was beneficial to the disciples. For example, the alchemy pavilion and the smithing pavilion could make pills and weapons that could be used by oneself and the disciples. The system said, whether the spirit beast hall has much use or not depends on whether the host can find better products in the store. The construction and upgrade function was equivalent to giving a platform. Whether it could be used or not depended on the products in the store. Previously, Jun Changshao obtained the recipe for the mid-grade cold ray sword. Because of the smithing pavilion, he could forge it with enough materials. And this was the embodiment of its subsequent value. Understood. Jun Changshao did not complain anymore. He went to the medicine hall, put the matured herbs into his interspatial ring, and began to mechanically refine pills. Right. Why didn't I see Jiangya? Our great elder Jiang was now in the training tower, immersed in tempering his body, forgetting to eat and sleep. He had been forging in the smithing pavilion for a while, and his improvement was becoming more and more limited. A few days ago, Li Qingyang asked him to go to the training tower. When he entered, he felt 10 times the gravity and was shocked. The smithing pavilion was just the beginning. There were even stronger ways to temper one's body in the sect. It felt so good. So good. If it was not for the fact that the gravity was 10 times stronger according to one's cultivation level, and that the initial stage could only last for 2 to 4 hours, Jiang Ye would have wanted to spend 24 hours in the training tower. After Zhong Yi and the others were distributed, they took the body-shaping pills and felt that their bodies and strength had increased by a lot. They were all dumbfounded. Brother Yi. A martial artist could not help but say, could this pill be the body-shaping pill refined by the AI family of Huyang City? Zhong Yi suppressed his shock and said, I heard that after taking that pill, it will improve one's body and strength. What we ate must be the one. Oh my God. Someone said, many big forces can't buy the pill even if they have the money, but we ate one each. They did not know that the body-shaping pills that were hard to buy outside were countless in Jun Changshao's interspatial ring. It was no exaggeration. It was no problem to give them to the disciples to eat like candy. Chapter 347. The next day, Jun Changshao came to Qingyang City to buy hunger grass. What surprised him was that this herb was like cabbage that could be found on the streets. He bought thousands of them in a few random pharmacies. Hunger grass wasn't a rare medicinal herb. It could be easily collected in many forests. When martial artists went out to the wild to train, if they encountered a shortage of food, they would often collect it to satisfy their hunger. Therefore, it was named hunger grass. Later on, someone discovered that this herb was also liked by livestock, so pharmacies were equipped with it. It could be considered a cheap feed. After buying enough hunger grass, Jun Changshao opened the spirit beast hall and began to refine a large number of beast pills. Refining beast pills was faster than refining beginner healing pills. In just a short while, he had refined dozens of them. Speaking of which, couldn't he just leave the matter of buying hunger grass to his disciples? Why did he have to do it himself? In fact, Jun Changshao came to Qingyang City to buy materials. He also planned to find City Lord Xia to reminisce about the past. To challenge the Sacred Springs sect and accompany him, he definitely had to bring gifts. Not much. Sending a few middle-grade healing pills was not a problem. Sigh. In the living room, after accepting the pills, Xia Guangquan sighed. Jun Changshao said, City Lord Xia, is there something bothering you? I just received the news. Xia Guangquan said with a worried face, the 6th grade Jinyang County has started a war. Perhaps it will implicate our Qingyang County soon. Is that so? Jun Changshao said. Although the Iron Bone had an intelligence agency, it was only in a small area. Therefore, they didn't know that the southwest Yangzhou was already in a state of war. Many high-grade counties had participated in the war, and it was very lively. The ninth-grade Qingyang County couldn't be compared to the large counties. Once the flames of war spread, it would definitely be easily devoured. Sigh. Xie Guanquan said, "The world is not peaceful. The only ones who suffer are the common people." Jun Changshao said, "City Lord Xie has such a mentality. It is truly admirable." Those in power who wanted to achieve hegemony were all built on the bones of thousands. There were very few who truly cared about the common people. It's still the same. Jun Changshao said, "I, Iron Bone, am a citizen of Green Sun City. Whoever dares to invade, I will fight for my homeland." With Sect Master Jun's words, "This Xie can rest assured," City Lord Xie said. "Of course." He then added, "If we can invite Blue Mountain Sect's people to temporarily guard Blue Sun City, we might be able to deter those malicious forces." Jun Changshao immediately understood. He only felt relieved because of the alliance between Iron Bone and Sangshan's sect. "Thank you, City Lord." Jun Changshao said, "If there really is a force that has designs on our Green Sun City, then even with the backing of the Blue Mountain Sect, it may not be of any use." Xie Guanquan fell silent. Within the Xinjiang County, there were 4 fifth-rate sects and 1 fourth-rate sect. If they really wanted to devour the Azure Sun County, they would definitely arrange for the Blue Mountain Sect first. Sigh. He was too naive. Jun Changshao said, "When war is inevitable, the only thing we can do is rely on ourselves to defend our homeland." Xie Guanquan said bitterly, "The Azure Sun County is too weak. How can we compete with those high-ranked counties?" He felt inferior and helpless. After all, the difference in strength couldn't be made up with just words. Jun Changshao said, "Although we may not be able to compete with the high-ranked counties, we still have to try. Otherwise, there will be no hope." "That makes sense." City Lord Xie said, "This Xie is preparing to strengthen the city and recruit martial cultivators to form an army. I hope that when the flames of war spread, we will have the strength to defend the Azure Sun City." "That's fine too," Jun Changshao said. He didn't have any brilliant ideas about war, so he couldn't give any strategies. The two chatted for a while more before leaving. The mention of the Blue Mountain Sect made Jun Changshao think, it's time to pay a visit to the 5th or 6th-rate sections. Elder Ma had visited before. Since they were allies, it was reasonable for him to return the visit. Moreover, a 5th-rate sect would definitely have a more complete system. As the head of a sect, he naturally had to go and investigate. Returning to the Iron Bone Mountain, all the elementary beast pills had been refined. In order to test the effect, Jun Changshao summoned the foodie little dragon over and let it eat one. Needless to say, the effect was great. The originally gluttonous little dragon didn't go to the cafeteria the next day. It strolled around the sect and seemed to be in good spirits. Jun Changshao was speechless. If I had known that there was such a pill in the Spirit Beast Hall, why would I have gone to the 10,000 Beast Mountain range to find food? Awo! Awo! In the forest of the Iron Bone Mountain, waves of wolf howls could be heard. Then, they saw Su Xiaoma and Li Fei each riding a hurricane wolf and galloping forward. The two of them were speed-type martial cultivators and had wind-type beasts as mounts. They must be extremely happy. Jun Changshao placed the refined elementary beast pills in the wolf cave and said, "It should be enough for them to eat for 3 to 5 months." Walking out of the wolf cave, he saw Su Xiaoma and Li Fei running around in the forest. He suddenly had an idea. Why don't we create a wolf cavalry regiment? The war in the southwest Yangzhou had already begun, and it might even affect the Qingyang County. If he could nurture a group of wolf cavalry regiment, it should be of great use. Just do it. When sect leader Jun returned to the sect, he gathered the disciples and selected 100 disciples with decent cultivation. Not only were these people equipped with hurricane wolves, they were also equipped with conqueror spear, iron shield, and soft silk armor. Of course, sect leader Jun was not purely dealing with the upcoming war. He thought, why not set up a wolf cavalry hall? In the martial arts world, how could one not be stabbed? In the future, When the disciples went out and had conflicts with the disciples of other sects and developed into a fight, the disciples riding the wolf cavalry would undoubtedly be able to arrive faster. With this sudden inspiration, Ironbone had a new wolf cavalry hall. Li Luocho was temporarily the hall master. Sigh. Hall Master Li said gloomily, another wolf cavalry hall master. Does sect leader think that I am not free enough? Capable people do more work. Jun Changshao said. Luo Qiu was speechless. Jun Changshao said, from today onwards, you will be in charge of their training. Try to master the hurricane wolves in the shortest time possible. Sect leader suddenly created a wolf cavalry regiment and a wolf cavalry hall. Could it be that you want to develop an army to conquer the world and expand your territory? Li Luocho said. Jun Changshao said, I have no intention of conquering the world, but this world is not peaceful. No matter what, I have to make some preparations. At least I will have the ability to protect myself in times of danger. That's right. Li Luocho agreed. Living in a chaotic world, one should be cautious. It was very necessary to train a group of well-equipped disciples. Therefore, Hall Master Li not only had to train the members of the Drizzle Hall, but also the Wolf Cavalry Hall. Capable people really do more work. As for Jun Changshao, he went to Huyang City and bought a lot of hunger grass. Then he paid a visit to the AI family head. When he came back, he put the plan of going to Tsang Mountain Sect on the agenda. Chapter 348. Tsang Mountain Sect was located on Tsang Mountain in the south of Azure Sun County. This mountain was one of the few places in the county with abundant spiritual energy. In terms of attributes, it was even higher than the Sacred Spring Mountain. In terms of potential, Tsang Mountain Sect was higher than the Sacred Spring Sect. What they lacked was an ancient heritage. On this day, the wind was gentle and the sun was bright. Sect Master Jun brought Xiao Ziji, Yi Xingchen, and the other core disciples to the gate of Tsang Mountain Sect. How did they get here? He rode the Hurricane Wolf King while the other disciples rode the Hurricane Wolf. The journey that would have taken 2 or 3 days only took half a day. This was one of the benefits of riding a wind-type beast. Of course. In order to keep a low profile, Jun Changshao let the wolf hide in the forest before coming to Tsang Mountain. Sect Master. Looking at the spiritual energy gathered halfway up the mountain, Su Xiaomo exclaimed, the heaven and earth attributes here seem to be richer than the Sacred Spring Mountain. Jun Changshao said, our spiritual energy is also growing stronger with the herbs planted by Elder Wei and the others. Sooner or later, it will become a treasured land. The AI family auctioned pills every month. Not only did they send money, but they also sent a large number of high-quality seeds. Now, a good cycle had already been formed, and the cost of improving the ecological environment was not much. Who are you? Several Tsang Mountain Sect disciples asked as they walked up the ancient stairs to the gate. Jun Changshao said, Iron Bone Sect Master, Jun Changshao, brought a group of disciples to visit Tsang Mountain Sect. Iron Bone Sect? The Tsang Mountain Sect disciples were surprised. One of them said, so it's Sect Master Jun. Please wait a moment, I will go and report now. Because of the alliance, these Tsang Mountain Sect disciples were very gentle. A moment later, Ma Yinteng hurriedly walked out and cupped his hands with a smile. Sect Master Jun, what wind blew you to my Tsang Mountain Sect? Spring wind. Jun Changshao smiled. Ma Yinteng waved sideways, please come in. Although Tsang Mountain Sect's foundation was weaker than the Sacred Spring Sect, the sect's buildings had a long history. They gave off an ancient and heavy aura. After entering, Jun Changshao observed for a while and praised, Elder Ma, your Tsangshan sect is indeed magnificent. You flatter me. Elder Ma said. On the way to the main hall, Jun Changshao saw many disciples. Each and every one of them had an imposing appearance and a heroic bearing. It was obvious that their strength was no weaker than the Sacred Spring Sect's disciples. True enough. To be able to become a fifth-rate sect, one had to have strength. Although the Iron Bones sect had defeated the Sacred Spring sect, there was still a huge gap between them and such a sect. In terms of the number of disciples, they couldn't even compare. After skimming through the Tsangshan sect, Jun Changshao realized that Iron Bone still had a long way to go before it could become a powerful sect. They entered the main hall. Ma Yinteng said apologetically, "The patriarch is currently in seclusion, so he can't welcome you personally. I hope sect leader Jun doesn't mind." Elder Ma is already giving Jun face by welcoming him. Why would he mind? Jun Changshao said. Naturally, he had to be polite to those who were good to him. If it were Qin Haoren, he wouldn't have to think about it. Sect leader Jun, Ma Yinteng said, "You have to stay for a few more days before coming to my Tsangshan sect. Can I eat my fill?" "Of course." The two looked at each other and smiled. Then, they chatted happily. Sect leader Jun, after a while, Ma Yinteng frowned and said, "Although the Demon Fiend sect temporarily gave up on targeting the Iron Bones sect because of the Taikuan sect's fight for the mine, they are still a big hidden danger." "That's right." Jun Changshao said so, but he didn't take it seriously in his heart. With the sect protecting Array, if the Demon Fiend sect dared to come looking for trouble, they could just continue to hide. Ma Yinteng said, "In my opinion, sect leader Jun can visit the Shengguan family in Xingyang City. They might be able to help your sect resolve the crisis." Shengguan family? Jun Changshao knew that Xingyang City was one of the 8 major cities in Qinyang County, but he had never heard of the Shengguan family. Ma Yinteng said, "Although the Shengguan family is not strong, their family's old master Shengguan used to teach at the Heavenly Mandate Academy in the Heavenly Mandate Royal City. Although he has stepped down, he is still highly respected." The Heavenly Mandate Academy. It was a place to cultivate warriors. Although it was not a sect or family, there were many outstanding talents gathered there, and the strength of the upper echelons was also very strong. It was said that the current dean of the Heavenly Mandate Academy had reached the peak of Wu Huang's strength. Even in the Falling Star continent, he was ranked as a strong man. At least 40% of the martial kings in the southwest Yangzhou came from the Heavenly Mandate Academy, so it was regarded as a holy land of martial arts. If sect leader Jun was not the leader of a sect and wanted to make a name for himself in the other world, going to such a great academy to cultivate was definitely the best choice. Of course. It was very difficult to enter the Heavenly Mandate Academy. Not to mention aptitude, the rule of only accepting students every 3 years made many young people miss the opportunity to join. For example, Li Qingyang. In the beginning, the Li family leader hoped to send him to the Heavenly Mandate Academy, but there were still 2 years before the enrollment, so he could only settle for the second best and choose to join a sect. Why not wait for 2 years? Sorry. The rule of the Heavenly Mandate Academy was that only 16-year-olds were recruited. By the time the enrollment came again, Li Qingyang would be 18 years old and would not be accepted at all. Therefore, to become a student of the Heavenly Mandate Academy, not only must one have good aptitude, but it was also very important to be in the enrollment year. 300 years ago, there was a genius with an upper-grade spiritual root in Xingyang City. Because of his aptitude and age, he was accepted by the Heavenly Mandate Academy. Although he did not perform too well in the academy where geniuses gathered, he still worked hard to cultivate martial arts. In the end, he passed the assessment and became an instructor of the academy. This person was called Shengguan Hong. He was also the only instructor in Qinyang County who had taught at the Heavenly Mandate Academy. In Shengguan Hong's teaching career, he had cultivated many geniuses. In the end, they either became the lord of a city or the upper echelons of a force. It could be said that he had students all over the world. Ma Yinteng mentioned him because he hoped that Jun Changshao would visit him and use his power to deter the Devil's Sect. Of course. The Devil's Sect might not be afraid of Shengguan Hong. However, they would definitely be afraid of the Heavenly Mandate Academy. After all, this non-force organization had a deep foundation and powerful connections. They must not be provoked casually. After learning about Shengguan Hong from Ma Yinteng, Jun Changshao said to himself, "If I want to get rid of the Devil's Sect, it is necessary to visit them." He was not afraid of this evil sect. However, if the other party was determined to destroy him and sent masters to block the door, he would definitely be depressed. Finding masters to deter the Devil's Sect was undoubtedly the best and most effective way at present. What a coincidence! Ma Yinting said, in half a month, it will be old Master Shengguan's birthday. Sect leader Jun can prepare a gift for the birthday celebration. Oh! Jun Changshao responded. If he could deter the Devil's Sect and let the sect develop steadily for a few years, he would definitely go to the birthday celebration. Dusk came. Jun Changshao and his disciples were placed in an independent courtyard of extremely high standards. The next day, he had a good look at the Tsangshan sect. This kind of profound sect had a variety of systems and facilities, such as practice rooms, cultivation rooms, technique pavilions, and so on. In particular, the elders of the Tsangshan sect had a clear division of labor. They either taught the disciples or were busy with their own affairs. Jun Changshao felt that his sect was already very formal and professional. However, compared with this kind of fifth-rate sect, he realized that there were still many shortcomings. Sect leader Jun. Ma Yinting walked over and said with a smile, "Are you interested in letting the disciples of our two sects compete?" Well, Jun Changshao said. He knew the strength of his disciples. It would be a bit bad if the disciples of the Tsangshan sect were beaten to the point of doubting life. Ma Yinting said with a smile, "It's just a competition. Don't go too far." Okay. Jun Changshao agreed and took Xiao Ziji and the others to the martial arts practice field. At this moment, the disciples of the Tsangshan sect had already gathered. They all looked at the disciples of the Iron Bone sect with a strange look. These people had a good momentum, but could they really defeat the direct disciples of the Holy Spring sect? PS 8/8/8, please recommend me, vote me, reward me, all kinds of requests. Chapter 349. Although the disciples of Tsangshan sect learned about the record of the Iron Bone disciples from the elders, they were still a little hesitant. 74 victories were too exaggerated. Not to mention them, even if it was widely spread in the outside world, there were still many martial artists who had doubts. Unless they witnessed it with their own eyes, they could convince everyone. Of course. Because of the alliance, even if the disciples of Tsangshan sect questioned, they would maintain a friendly attitude, and they would not despise the Iron Bone disciples. Sect Master Jun, Ma Yinting said, "You brought 5 disciples, so let's compete in 5 games." Yes. Jun Changshao said. This visit to Tsangshan sect, in order to show respect, except for Li Qingyang and Lu Qianqian, the core 5 disciples were brought. They were Xiao Ziji, Yi Xingchen, Su Xiama, Li Fei, and Tian Qi. Sun Hao. Ma Yinting said, "You will fight in the first game." The disciples of Tsangshan sect were stunned. Senior brother Sun was a direct disciple. If he was allowed to fight in the first game, would it still be the turn of the inner disciples? Ma Yinting also wanted the inner disciples to fight, but as a witness to the challenge of the Holy Spring sect, he knew that the disciples brought by Jun Changshao were very strong. Therefore, it must be taken seriously. Tsangshan sect did not have as many core disciples as the Holy Spring sect, but in terms of cultivation and aptitude, they were not weaker than the other party. Sun Hao, who fought, was a 7th-grade advanced martial master with a high-grade spiritual root. And he was only at the bottom of the direct disciples. Tian Qi. Jun Changshao said, "Fight." Yes. Tian Qi stepped toward the martial arts practice field. Just after taking 2 steps, he heard the sect master's voice transmission, "Anyway, we are allies. Take it easy." Understood. Tian Qi secretly thought in his heart, "How should I take it easy?" In the center of the martial arts practice field, Tian Qi and Sun Hao were a few meters apart, and the 2 sides reported their names to each other. "Start!" Ma Yinting shouted. "Please. Please." The 2 of them were polite again, and then they set up the battle array. Shwa! Sun Hao first rushed over with his movement technique. Dense fist prints, accompanied by the spread of spiritual power, were instantly displayed. Mei's fist. There are at least 60 to 70 punches. It's definitely an extreme comprehension. Senior brother's son used his trump card the moment he made his move. Mei's fist was one of Tsang Mountain Sect's top fist techniques, and only direct disciples could practice it. Sun Hao directly displayed it, and his fellow disciples were immediately shocked and surprised. How should I take it easy? Tian Qi was still thinking about Sect Master Jun's instructions as he faced the densely packed fist imprints. Forget it, forget it. Pretend that you can't avoid it and take it with your body. Thinking of this, Tian Qi pretended to use his movement technique, but before he could do so, the shadow of the fist came crashing over. Bang! 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 With a series of explosions, spiritual energy erupted and shrouded the martial arts practice field. Ma Yinting smiled. Before sparring, he repeatedly warned Sun Hao not to underestimate the Iron Bone disciples and to use the strongest trump card in the battle. Sure enough, he was very attentive. The moment he attacked, he unleashed a huge explosion, not giving his opponent any chance to catch his breath. What did that mean? Does this mean that the pro-disciples of the Tsangshan school are very strong? Wrong. It means that Tian Qi acted well and didn't let Elder Ma see that he did it deliberately. After a while, the spiritual power dissipated. Tian Qi stood in place, his face slightly hideous. Did it hurt? It didn't hurt at all. But since the sect master wanted him to throw the game, he must cooperate. Jun Changxiao's mouth twitched. This guy's facial expression was very good, but after being beaten so many times, at least take 2 steps back. Tian Qi also realized it, so he hurriedly staggered back a few steps. Ah! He clutched his chest and said, "It's so painful." Black lines rose on everyone's forehead. Big brother, you were attacked for a while before retreating, and then you cried out in pain. This reflex arc is too long. Jun Changxiao collapsed, bad acting. There was no way. As a disciple of the Iron Bone sect, he spent most of his time practicing martial arts and had never learned acting at all. Sect Master Jun, Ma Yinting said seriously, although it's just a friendly spar, please let your disciple take it seriously. He was not a fool, and he naturally saw through Tian Qi's lame acting. Since he wanted to fight, he would fight seriously. Deliberately throwing the game was more like a humiliation. This, Jun Changxiao had to transmit his voice, don't take it easy, fight seriously. Yes. Tian Qi received the order, and his eyes suddenly became serious. Shua! This time, it was his turn to make the first move. He stepped on the cloud step and approached Sun Hao first, and the bursting fist was immediately displayed. The sect master said to fight seriously. So the power of this punch was very strong. Not good. Sun Hao was shocked and could only use his arms to take it hard. Boom! The powerful force pressed over like a storm. Thump! 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 Sun Hao, who took it hard, his face suddenly became ferocious, and his body retreated uncontrollably, and finally withdrew from the martial arts practice field. Gah! The audience was silent. The expressions on the faces of the Tsangshan sect disciples were wonderful. How much power did he have to break out to be able to punch senior brother Sun out? Ma Yinting was also dumbfounded. Sun Hao was on par with Ran Hui of the Holy Spring sect in strength. This disciple named Tian Qi fought with Ran Hui at that time. Although he won in the end, he also fainted after stepping down. Now only more than a month has passed, how could he directly defeat his own disciple? Elder Ma didn't know that after returning to the sect, Tian Qi's aptitude not only reached the best grade, but his cultivation also broke through to the 6th grade martial master. His aptitude was the same as Ran Hui's, but the level difference was a lot, so it was difficult to win. What about now? The spiritual root aptitude was leading, and the realm was close, so it was normal to lose in seconds. Elder Ma. Jun Changxiao said rather awkwardly, thank you for letting me win. He thought in his heart, I asked you to be serious, not to directly beat people down. In the first round of sparring, Sun Hao was completely defeated. After watching the battle, the Tsongshan sect disciples finally understood why the elder wanted to let the direct disciple fight. Defeating senior brother Sun with one punch, this was really terrifying. Peng Jun, Ma Yinting said, you fight. He sent out the second direct disciple, whose cultivation was one grade higher than Sun Hao. Little Fei. Jun Changshao said, you go. Yes. Li Fei tiptoed and then walked to the martial arts practice field. After the two reported their names to each other, the battle began under Ma Yinting's announcement. Peng Jun also remembered the elder's words, and when he made a move, he directly used his strongest move. Unfortunately, in the face of Li Fei, who was good at speed, even if he allowed him to switch back and forth between fist techniques and palm techniques, the fight was extremely powerful, but he didn't even touch the corner of his clothes. Iron Bone Shadowless Foot. Boom! 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 Li Fei displayed his unique foot technique. After a series of wild kicks, Peng Jun, whose cultivation had reached the 8th grade, was kicked out of the martial arts field. The corner of Ma Yinting's mouth twitched violently. This expression would temporarily grow on his face with Su Xiaoma, Yi Xingqian, and Xiao Ziji's appearance one by one. Boom! Su Xiaoma kicked out, and the third direct disciple of the Tsongshan sect flew directly out of the martial arts field. Thank you for letting me win, he said flirtatiously. Boom! After Yi Xingqian came on the field, it was even more excessive. After the two sides reported each other's names, before the opponent could report his name, he directly punched him out of the stage. It took 5 seconds. Jun Changshao collapsed. This is our ally, can you leave some face for him? Xiao Zuiji, on the other hand, was rather gentle. After going on the field, he fought back and forth with the direct disciple named Bloom for dozens of moves. Finally, he relied on his tyrannical physical body to shake the other party out. 5 rounds of practice were over. To be honest, it was an absolute one-sided crush. The expression on Ma Yinting's face was always frozen. In his heart, he wailed miserably, if I knew I would lose so badly, I wouldn't take the initiative to compete with Iron Bone. Chapter 350. Ma Yinting thought that since Iron Bone came to visit, it would be better to let the disciples spar and learn from each other. Of course. He also knew Iron Bone disciples were very strong. Otherwise, the Holy Spring Sect disciples would not have lost so badly. But he did not expect that after 5 rounds of sparring, his disciples would lose even more badly than the Holy Spring Sect disciples. They had no way to fight back at all. It was normal. It had been more than a month since they returned from the Holy Spring Mountain. Although sect leader Jun was very busy and neglected cultivation, the disciples did not slack off at all. Yi Xingqian had already broken through to rank 7. Xiao Ziji, Su Xiaoma, Li Fei, and Tian Qi had already entered rank 6. This group of disciples grew up with all kinds of resources. Every increase in rank brought about a terrifying increase in strength. Not to mention the Blue Mountain Sect. If they went to challenge the Holy Spring Sect again, they could beat them into a pile of shit. Sect leader Jun, Ma Yinting cupped his hands and said, your disciples are really strong. I am very impressed. Although the disciples lost miserably, they had a good mentality and would not take it to heart. Not to mention, even the Holy Spring Sect lost. It was not shameful for him to lose. Jun Changshao said modestly, it was just luck, just luck. Ma Yinting said, Sect leader Jun, I have a presumptuous request. Please speak, Jun Changshao said. Ma Yinting hesitated for a moment and said, please give my disciples some guidance on martial arts. No problem, Jun Changshao said readily. He had refined many insight talismans in the Talisman Pavilion. There was a long table in the martial arts arena. Jun Changshao sat upright, looking like a martial arts master. The Blue Mountain Sect disciples had already lined up, their eyes full of excitement. This iron-boned sect leader had taught Elder Ma before. He had a deep understanding of martial arts. It was an absolute honor to be able to receive guidance from him. Next. After a while, sect leader Jun shouted. The Blue Mountain Sect disciple who was guided earlier left with a heart full of joy. After some guidance, he had a deep understanding of martial arts and his own shortcomings. If he could overcome them, his martial arts would be a step closer. Senior apprentice brother. In a small pavilion far away, Tian Chi broke down and said, Sect Master's understanding of martial arts is so profound, why haven't I seen them teach us before? Yes. Li Fei scratched his head and said, sometimes when I went to ask about the sect's cultivation method, I was sent away by the sect master with a few words. What they didn't know was that sect leader Jun also wanted to give them some pointers. However, that damn talisman of insight only worked on the martial arts of the falling star continent. It didn't work on the martial arts of the Shang city. Su Xiaomo said, with our current strength, other than relying on our own cultivation to become stronger, what else can the sect master teach us? This sentence hit the nail on the head. Systematic martial arts were easy to learn and one could comprehend them on their own. Jun Changshao didn't need to guide them at all. He only needed to provide them with various dance resources so that they could continue to grow stronger. Next. Sect leader Jun, who had transformed into a martial arts master, was sanctimoniously helping the disciples of the Blue Mountain Sect solve their martial arts problems. Yi Xingchen was deeply shocked. He had been listening from the side the entire time. Many people had mentioned their cultivation method, but before they could even analyze it, the sect master had already given them professional comments and modifications. This was something that couldn't be done without profound martial arts attainments. As the reborn Knight Emperor, his strength lay in his extremely high comprehension of martial arts. Now, he was so shocked by Jun Changshao that he couldn't control himself. This was enough to show that the talisman of insight was far stronger than a martial emperor's. Of course. It was only limited to low-level cultivation methods. After all, the talisman of insight that Jun Changshao used was only a low-level one. If it was upgraded to a higher level, it definitely wouldn't be able to compare to a genuine martial emperor like Yi Xingchen. Sect leader Jun sat on the martial arts field and gave pointers from morning until dusk. During this time, he used 10 talismans of insight. The thousands of disciples of the Blue Mountain Sect benefited greatly and were deeply impressed by his martial arts attainments. They weren't the only ones. Many elders also came to ask for pointers. After being enlightened, they all said in admiration, Sect leader Jun is truly a master of martial arts. The path of martial arts is as profound as the sea of stars. Jun only knows a little about it, Jun Changshao said. Everyone's mouth twitched. Even such a profound martial arts person described himself as only knowing a little about it. With their current level, they probably didn't even know a little about it. Jun Changshao and his disciples stayed in the Blue Mountain Sect for 5 days. During this time, he often discussed with Ma Yintang about how to develop the sect. Sect leader Jun Elder Ma said, if a sect wants to remain prosperous and grow stronger, outstanding disciples are the most important. Your sect already meets this requirement. What else? Jun Changshao asked. Ma Yintang thought for a moment and said, secondly, you need a stable source of income. This way, you can turn it into martial arts resources. What is a source of income? Jun Changshao was like a humble student seriously asking for advice. If it was other elders, they might not give him good advice. However, Ma Yintang was in charge of the sect's income, so he hit the nail on the head and said, set up a business in the city. This Jun Changshao fell silent. Although he had a deep cooperation with the AI family and could earn a lot of money from selling pills every month, as the sect continued to grow, there would be more places to spend money. I think so. Ma Yintang said, in this world where martial arts are respected, the most profitable businesses are pills, weapons, and spirit stones. If Sect Master Jun can choose one of the three, and if you have enough high-quality goods, you'll make a lot of money. Jun Changshao cupped his hands and said, listening to Elder Ma's words is better than 10 years of studying. To be honest, he was very tempted to set up a business in the city. In order not to attract attention, the pills refined by the medicine refinery pavilion were destined not to be sold in large quantities. Therefore, the upper limit was that high. If he set up a business in the Azure Sun County and made a name for himself, it was equivalent to having a stable source of income. Ding! Congratulations to host for completing the hidden mission, great benefits. You have received 200 contribution points. Ding! Sect contribution points, 23005000. The corner of Jun Changxiao's mouth twitched. He could actually complete a hidden mission by discussing the way to make money from others. This was absolutely unexpected. After staying in the Tsang Mountain sect for another 2 days, Jun Changxiao left with his disciples. Before leaving, Ma Yinteng did not forget to remind him, sect leader Jun, there are still 8 days until old Master Shengguan's birthday. Don't forget to go and celebrate at that time. Jun Changxiao cupped his hands and said, farewell. After saying that, he led his disciples down the mountain, called for their mounts and returned to the sect at the fastest speed. After returning to the Iron Bones sect, sect leader Jun was still thinking about where to start since he wanted to set up a business. Pills? No. The pills in the medicine refinery pavilion were too heaven-defying. If he sold them, he would definitely be targeted by thieves. Weapons? No. Even the basic grade cold-edge sword was very eye-catching in the Falling Star continent. Talismans were even more out of the question. There were no such items in this world. If he sold them, the commotion would definitely be greater than the body-shaping pill. Chapter 351. So conflicted. Jun Changxiao frowned. At this moment, he also realized that the things in the system were too powerful, and it was unrealistic to sell them. The system said, the host can consider selling the beginner beast pill. Jun Changxiao almost fell off his chair. It was undeniable that the beginner beast pill had the effect of a fasting pill, but it was still for the beasts to eat. The transmigrators in other books either relied on pills and weapons to make a fortune, or they had to sell fodder. They really couldn't afford to lose face. Is money important or face important? Face, Jun Changxiao said seriously, money is important. Then that's it. The materials needed for the beginner beast pill were very easy to find. The system let Jun Changxiao use this to buy a business, hoping to get more profits. The key was this thing easy to sell? If it was a fasting pill, a warrior would not be hungry for a few days after eating one, and it would definitely cause a mad rush. But the beginner beast pill was targeted at the beasts. In the Falling Star continent, there weren't many martial cultivators who had contracted beasts. The system said, the host can use it as fodder and sell it to a family or force with a horse farm. Although this world didn't turn battle energy into a horse, there was no Dodi chasing after a Dodi because the horse wasn't fast enough. But horses were definitely the most common means of transportation in the secular world. Those who didn't ride horses were the strong ones. This kind of existence in the Falling Star continent was very low in population, so there were still many warriors who rode horses. Not to mention, wearing a green robe, riding a horse, galloping between heaven and earth was also the dream of countless men and women. Many big families had their own horse farms, not only for their own use, but also for sale. A high-quality horse was even hard to buy with thousands of gold. The system said, as the saying goes, a handsome horse is a gift to a hero, and a beautiful woman is a gift to a beauty. The host can consider it. That's not right. Jun Changxiao said, it seems to be a treasure sword is a gift to a hero, and a beautiful woman is a gift to a beauty. The logic is the same. The system said. Jun Changxiao touched his chin, and said, I have to check the market first. The next day, he continued to hand over the sect's affairs to Li Qingyang, and then personally went to Qingyang City. Sure enough, there was a horse market in the city. Many martial artists were haggling with the horse dealers, hoping to buy one. Jun Changshao strolled around and realized that even the most ordinary of the horses for sale would be Fergana horses if placed on Earth. The spiritual energy on the falling star continent was abundant, and they had all been raised professionally. Jun Changshao looked for a long time and realized that many martial artists would spend at least 5,000 taels of silver to buy a horse they liked. Thus, he thought to himself, with such a high price, the cost of raising it must be high. Bro, he came to a horse dealer who was counting money. With his hands in his sleeves, he smiled and said, "Business is not bad." "My surname is Jean, not Tai," said the peddler. Jun Changshao leaned against the stump and said with a smile, "How long does it take for a horse to mature from infancy?" The peddler replied, "Half a year." "So fast?" Jun Changshao was surprised. Although he had been muddle-headed for half his life on Earth, he knew that it would take at least 3 to 5 years for a horse to mature from infancy. It only took half a year in another world. Sure enough, different places raised different horses. Old Jean. Jun Changshao said, "It must cost a lot of money to raise a horse, right?" "Of course." The peddler said, "The cool breeze horse that I just sold, not to mention breeding, just buying medicinal herbs to raise it cost almost 5,000 taels. There's no profit to be made at all." Jun Changshao knew that this guy must be exaggerating. After all, when a businessman sold something, there was no one who did not say that they would not make a loss. Even if it's half of the profit, it would still be around 2 to 3,000. Half a year is 180 days. It's the matter of 18 low-level beast cores. If I sell one for 100 taels, I can still save a few hundred taels. This is just one horse. If I raise more, I can save even more. Jun Changshao muttered in his heart. Wait. He had a flash of inspiration and said, "If the profit from selling horses is big, why don't I consider raising horses? Why sell feed?" Opening a horse farm in Iron Bone Mountain was definitely not a problem. The system was speechless. "So, the host intends to change from selling feed to being a horse dealer?" The corner of Jun Changshao's mouth twitched. Horse dealer was not as good as selling feed. The system said, "The profit from selling horses is big, but the growth period is also long. It's better to sell feed. As long as the market is opened, the small profit but quick turnover will definitely be more cost-effective than raising horses. Let's talk about it later." It added, "It's better to raise bamboo rats than to raise horses." Jun Changshao rolled his eyes and said, "Last time, someone tricked me into going to Dubai to beg, and then tricked me into going to Ukraine to get a wife. Now, you're tricking me into selling bamboo rats?" After inspecting the market, Jun Changshao went to the city lord's mansion to ask about horses. City Lord Xia held his chin and said, "Horses as a means of transportation are especially important everywhere, and the market demand is also great." "So?" Jun Changshao said, "I'm going to sell feed." City Lord Xia was dumbfounded. Not to mention that he was the head of a sect, just by refining healing pills and body-shaping pills, it meant that he was an awesome alchemist. Selling animal feed? Wasn't that too ridiculous? "Thank you, City Lord." Jun Changshao said, "Jun wants to find a good location to open a shop. I wonder if you can make an exception." The corner of City Lord Xia's mouth twitched. Sect leader Jun really wants to open a shop, to sell feed? Yes. Jun Changshao's tone was firm. He didn't invest much in this kind of business. As long as he opened the market, he would definitely make a lot of money. Alright. City Lord Xia pondered for a moment and said, "There's a shop in the bustling area of the main street. If sect leader Jun really wants to open a shop, you can use it." "Rent? I don't want rent." "Alright." Jun Changshao handed over a body-shaping pill and said, "Then I'll use the body-shaping pill as rent." City Lord Xia, don't refuse. City Lord Xia's mouth twitched. Although the shop he gave was in a prime location, the rent was only 50,000 taels a year. The body-shaping pill sect leader Jun gave was worth 1,000,000 taels. Sect leader June, he accepted the pill and said, "You must leave the decoration of the shop to me." "Okay." June Changshao said. City Lord Xia said, "Sect leader June, what shop do you want to go to?" "This." June Changshao thought about it. The system suggested, "You can call it June Family Feed Shop." June Changshao's mouth twitched. Did this guy really think of himself as a feed seller? "Thank you, City Lord." June Changshao thought for a moment and said, "Let's call it Iron Bone Beast Material Store after my iron bone." "Okay." City Lord Xia hurriedly ordered his subordinates to build a plaque as soon as possible. "Goodbye." June Changshao got up and returned to the sect. With a way to make money and a shop front, the decoration matter was also handed over to Xie Guangquan. On the way, June Changshao began to think, after the shop opens, we will need manpower. Let the Drizzle Hall members in the city take care of it first. If Li Luoqiu knew about it, she would definitely be speechless. "Sect leader, why do you let my Drizzle Hall do everything?" Li Qingyang understood. Chapter 352. June Changshao had just returned to the sect from Qingyang City. Li Qingyang said, "Sect Master, Master AI came to visit early in the morning. He is waiting for you in the main hall." "Is that so?" June Changshao entered the main hall and exchanged some pleasantries with AI Shang before getting down to business. Master AI must have come to give him money, herbs, and seeds. "Oh right." After they finished talking about business, June Changshao said, "Master AI, I plan to open a shop in Qingyang City. I hope that AI family can provide me with enough hunger grass." "Open a shop? Hunger grass?" AI Shang said blankly, "Sect Master June, what kind of shop do you plan to open that can use such low-grade feed like hunger grass?" June Changshao said, "Beast material shop." "Pooh!" AI Shang, who had just taken a sip of tea, spat it out. His expression was extremely interesting as he said, "Sect Master June wants to open a feed shop?" "That's right." June Changshao said. AI Shang felt a little dizzy. A powerful pill master would open a feed shop instead of a pill store. Was he joking with him? Besides, hunger grass could be seen everywhere. Even if he sold tens of thousands of them every day, the profit would be extremely low. As an experienced businessman, AI Shang was not optimistic about selling beast materials. However, since Sect Master June wanted to do this, he would definitely cooperate. Therefore, on the way back to Huyang City, not only did he secretly think about preparing the hunger grass as soon as possible, he also wanted to prepare gifts on the day of the shop's opening. In this regard, the big families of Qingyang City had already heard about it from City Lord Xia and had already started preparing gifts. When June Changxiao's shop opened, they would definitely go and congratulate him personally. "Have you heard? Iron Bone Sect Master is going to open a business in Qingyang City. I've heard about such a big thing. Many families are preparing. When Sect Master June opens his shop, there will definitely be many big shots coming to congratulate him personally." The news of June Changxiao opening a shop spread in Qingyang City and immediately became a hot topic. It even spread to other cities. Iron Bone has great potential. Since we're going to buy a property, we definitely have to congratulate them. Many families received the news, and after confirming the opening time, they hurriedly made preparations. 3 days later, the weather was clear and windy. According to Huang Li, it was very suitable for business. Crackle! In the busiest part of the main street of Qingyang City, the sound of firecrackers rang out for a long time before stopping. The streets were packed with martial artists. They all stared at the signboard that was covered by the red cloth. What kind of shop did Sect Leader June open? Sect Master June. After the firecrackers were set off, the AI family head came over with a generous gift. He cupped his hands and said, "Congratulations on your grand opening, business is booming." "Many thanks." June Changxiao cupped his hands. Xie Guanquan and the other families in the city also came with congratulatory gifts. They're all family heads. As expected of the Iron Bone with so much potential. He attracted so many big shots just by opening a store. Damn, the other 7 city lords have also come to congratulate us. More and more big shots came with gifts and gathered at the entrance of the store. It could be said that many martial artists were shocked by this. For a new sect to attract so many big shots for its grand opening, it was definitely very powerful. According to the rules of the underworld, the 100 Sect Alliance would send gifts when a sect opened a business. But this time, no one came. Many martial artists knew that Iron Bone and the Alliance had deep grudges, so it was normal for them not to visit. Sect Master Jun, City Lord Xie said, "The time has come, please reveal the signboard." N. Jun Changshao walked to the entrance of the store and grabbed the red string that represented the festive occasion. He then pulled it lightly, revealing the red cloth. Gah! The entire place was silent. The big shots from the various families looked at the words Iron Bone Beast Material Store written on the signboard with smiles on their faces. Their mouths twitched violently. They thought that sect leader Jun might open a pill store, weapon store, or even a medicine store. They never thought that he would open a feed store. We came all the way here just to congratulate a feed store. This is too embarrassing. The martial artists who were watching the show were all dumbfounded. A new sect that was in the limelight opened a feed store. If this spread out, wouldn't people laugh their heads off? Seeing the expressions on everyone's faces, City Lord Xie and AI family head sighed helplessly. They had long expected such a thing to happen. After all, it was absolutely unprecedented for a sect to open a feed store for their business. Everyone. After revealing the signboard, Jun Changshao said, "If any of you have horses, pets, or fierce beasts, you can come to my Iron Bone Beast Material Store to buy." Everyone was even more speechless. Feed could be bought anywhere. Even the families with horse farms had their own feed farms. Who would be so free to come all the way to Green Sun City to buy? Of course. Jun Changshao said, "My Iron Bone Beast Materials Store has developed a new feed pill. Not only is it rich in nutrients, if animals or fierce beasts eat one, they won't be hungry for 10 days. What? Everyone stared with their eyes wide open. This was the first time they heard that feed could be described as a pill. Eating one pill and not being hungry for 10 days. The big shots who came to congratulate him were definitely full of doubts. City Lord Xia and AI family head were convinced. After all, they could refine healing pills and body-shaping pills. At that moment, they finally understood why sect leader Jun wanted to open a beast material store. It turned out that there was a feed pill that could last for 10 days. Sect leader Jun AI Shang said, "My AI family has a lot of livestock and needs to prepare some feed. I wonder how much this feed pill is." As expected of a businessman. When everyone was doubtful, he came to support them in time. Jun Changshao said, 100 taels. In the past 2 days, he had done experiments. He could synthesize a primary beast pill with the most ordinary meat and grass. The cost was only 20 taels. AI Shang said, "If it's really as sect leader Jun said, a feed pill is rich in nutrients and can last for 10 days, the price of 100 taels is reasonable. How about this?" He said, "I'll buy 100 pills first. Please." Jun Changshao made a gesture to enter the store. After AI Shang glanced in, the big shots looked at each other and walked in one after another. They didn't lack feed, but since sect leader Jun had just opened a store, they naturally had to support him. Just buy 100. Spending 10,000 taels could be considered buying a friendship. And so, the big shots of the various forces who came to congratulate him bought 100 feed pills one after another and then left. Because of their support, the Iron Bone Beast Materials Store sold more than 5,000 primary beast pills on the first day, earning 500,000 taels. After deducting the cost price, the profit was 400,000 taels. Although this profit was not as good as a beginner-grade healing pill, Jun Changshao knew that after seeing the effects of the pill, the big shots would definitely travel thousands of miles to buy it. When the sales were completely opened, they would sell 10 to 20,000 pills a day. If they continued to do so, the profits would be huge. Moreover, this kind of feed pill was only useful for berserk beasts. Even if it caused a sensation, it would never make the strong think about it. After all, who would be willing to rob a feed store? Chapter 353. On Earth, rich people like to buy expensive cars, such as Don't Touch Me, Ferrari, Lamborghini, and so on. There were no cars on Starfall continent, but there were horses. Therefore, many rich people had the hobby of raising horses. For example, Ai Shangyao. He had 6 different breeds of horses at home, and any one of them could be sold for 100,000 taels. It was a fashion for rich people to raise and walk horses. There were also people who liked to raise ferocious beasts, but it was difficult to sign a contract with them, so very few martial artists could do so. After returning from Qingyang City, Ai Shangyao went to the stable. The 6 horses he raised were majestic and powerful, and it was obvious that they were of a high breed with good looks. Ai Shangyao took out 6 low-grade beast pills and threw them into the manger. He smiled and said, "Today, I'll bring you a new kind of feed." Huff! The 6 horses lowered their heads and sniffed the pills with their noses, and a trace of disdain appeared in their eyes. They were used to eating high-quality herbs, and eating something like this was completely unappetizing. "Eat it." Ai Shangyao said, "This is made by Sect leader Jun, it must have a miraculous effect." After witnessing the heaven-defying effects of the healing pill and body-shaping pill, he did not think that Jun Changshao would make ordinary pills. Since Master said so, then he would give him face. Kacha! One of the horses licked the pill with its tongue, and then chewed it. In the next second, its eyes were dull, and then a human-like joy appeared on its face, and it raised its head and neighed. Hiss! Hiss! The other 5 horses also ate the low-grade beast pills, and they neighed with joy, giving people a very happy feeling. Ai Shangyao saw this and was immediately sure that this feed pill was very delicious, or else they would not be so excited. Delicious was not the point. The point was it nutritious? If they did not eat for 10 days, they could save money. But if they did not get fat or strong, it would be better to feed them a few meals a day. Let's go out for a walk. Ai Shangyao picked a horse and equipped it with a high-quality saddle. He waved the whip and rode out of the city, galloping in the wilderness. Ta-ta! The horse galloped, and a strong wind blew. Ai Shangyao was shocked. Its speed is much faster than before. He changed horses one by one, and after passing them all, he concluded that the horses that had eaten the feed pill were not only much faster, but their stamina had also increased by a lot. The next day, he ordered his servants to feed the horses, and when evening came, the 6 horses were as happy as they had been the day before. After going out for another round, his speed and stamina were still as strong as before. Oh my God! Ai Shang was shocked beyond words. To him, even if this kind of feed pill could only last for 2 days without eating, it was already very incredible to let the horse maintain an excited state. This kind of medicinal pill that can increase a horse's speed and stamina, not to mention 100 taels, even 1,000 taels would be worth it. The leaders of the various clans were also shocked. They had tested it when they got home. No matter what kind of livestock they gave it to, it was as if they had been injected with stimulants. Especially young horses. After feeding him on the first day, he grew significantly on the second day. According to the judgment of a professional horse breeder, this would take at least 5 to 6 days of feeding. What did that mean? This meant that the feed pill was rich in nutrients. This kind of pill that could maintain its excitement and gain weight without eating for a few days was definitely very valiant. I'll go. Jun Changshao opened his eyes wide. At this moment, he was in the wolf cave not far from the isolation array. The wolf cubs in the cave who had taken the low-grade beast pill had obviously changed a lot compared to a few days ago. The adult wolves looked more robust. He rode on a hurricane wolf and circled around the mountain, and found that its speed was much faster than before. This, Jun Changshao said, "What's the situation?" The system said, "The low-grade beast pill not only can resist hunger, it can also promote the growth of the beast, and have a stronger body and endurance." "Is it similar to the body-shaping pill?" Jun Changshao said. The system said, "It's similar to a stimulant, allowing their body to always be in a state of high excitement and rapid growth." "Are there any side effects?" "No." "Then that's good." A hurricane wolf cub's growth cycle is about a year. From the current situation, using the low-grade beast pill can shorten it to half a year. "Fuck." Jun Changshao said frantically, "Why didn't you say so earlier?" From the beginning to the end, he had regarded the low-grade beast pill as a fasting pill. He had never thought that it could make the beast grow faster after taking it. If he had known, he wouldn't have set the price at 100 taels, but 500 or even 1,000 taels. The system said, "I just analyzed the changes of the hurricane wolf, so I didn't understand the specific effects of the low-grade beast pill at first." "No. Jun Changshao said, "I must raise the price." He could already imagine that after testing the effects of the low-grade beast pill, the big shots of the clans would definitely come to buy it in large quantities. Sure enough. On the third day, many big shots of the clans realized the power of the feed pill and rushed over from hundreds of miles away. Most of them had their own horse ranches and raised thousands of horses. If they bought a large amount of feed pills, not only could they save a lot of money on feed, but they could also let the horses grow faster. It was killing two birds with one stone. Why did the big shots of the clans come again? I heard that they came to buy feed pills. It can't be. This thing is very powerful. They just left for a few days and came back again to buy. The cultivators in the city were dumbfounded. Jun Changshao, who was in the iron bone shop, received the news and immediately ordered 500 taels per pill, no bargaining. It can't be. In the iron bone beast material shop, a patriarch heard and collapsed. It was 100 taels 3 days ago, why did the price increase so much? The shopkeeper explained, 3 days ago, when the shop opened, the feed pills were on sale. Now that the event is over, the price will naturally return to normal. Everyone's mouth twitched. However, it could let livestock and beasts grow faster. Even if it was 500 taels per pill, it was still acceptable. Thus, on this day, the Iron Bone Beast material shop sold another 5,000 pills and earned 2.5 million taels. The profit was a total of 2.4 million taels. This was only the beginning. Jun Changshao firmly believed that when the effects of the feed pills spread in Azure Sun County, it would definitely attract more customers. No. He held his chin and said, "I have to open more branches." Jun Changshao went to Huyang City and bought a shop in a prime location under the operation of Patriarch AI. In the other 6 cities, he also bought shops one after another. After choosing an auspicious day, the Iron Bone Beast material stores in the 7 cities of the Azure Sun County opened for business on the same day. Horses were used as a means of transportation. Fast horses were definitely important. Because not only did it involve traveling and delivering letters, it was also very likely that it was a matter of life and death. I'm a martial disciple and I'm being chased by Wuzong, but I don't panic at all because his horse isn't as fast as mine. With the popularization of feed pills, perhaps this sentence would no longer be a joke, but a reality. Chapter 354. All 8 cities in Qingyang County had opened Iron Bone Beast material stores, and the people in charge of managing them were all members of the Drizzle Hall. In terms of price, because they had just opened, they needed to open up the market as soon as possible. Jun Changshao set the price at 500 taels for one feed pill. This was a bit expensive for ordinary warriors, but it was still acceptable for families with horse farms. Of course. They only saw the effects of the first few days. After a 10-day cycle, they would deeply understand that 500 taels for one feed pill was worth it. After the business was set up, Jun Changshao began to think about how to mass-produce it. Hunger grass was not a problem, the main problem was meat. After all, a primary beast pill required a caddy of meat as the material. Sect leader Yi Xingchen came to see him. I want to go to the wild to train. If one kept cultivating and tempering in the sect, they would only be able to improve their cultivation and physical body, but not their actual combat strength. How long? A month. Sure. Jun Changshao said, but before you go, bring more space rings. Yi Xingchen did not understand, why? Jun Changshao said, bring back tens of thousands of kilograms of beast meat. The corner of Yi Xingchen's mouth twitched. He thought that the sect leader wanted him to bring more crystal cores, but he didn't expect him to bring more beast meat. Yi Xingchen's application for going out to train inspired Jun Changshao, and he thought to himself, the other disciples can't always cultivate, it's essential for them to go out and train. As a result, he called Xiao Ziji and the others over and ordered them to choose a day to go out and train. The main point was that they had to bring more meat. The next day, other than Li Qingyang and Lu Qianqian, the inner sect disciples set off to train in the wild, and everyone was given a lot of space rings. In order to let them store more beast meat, Jun Changshao even gave them a lot of silver to buy space rings in the city. Of course, outer sect disciples with decent strength. For example, Li Tiantian, Sima Zhongde, Cui Bujian and the others had also forcefully gone to the wild to train. Letting them experience actual combat and bring back enough beast meat to refine primary beast pills could be said to be killing two birds with one stone. Jun Changshao was worried that his disciples would encounter danger in the wild, so he gave each of them a strength-increasing talisman. As for galloping talismans, because there weren't many of them and they had hurricane wolves as mounts, they weren't given any. After making arrangements for his disciples, he did not stay idle. The next morning, after eating Lu Wancher's meal, he rode the Hurricane Wolf King to Xingyang City. They were going to celebrate the birthday. Xingyang City, one of the 8 largest cities in Qingyang County. In terms of scale, this city could not be compared to Green Sun City. However, the old master of the Shengguan family in the city had once taught at the Heavenly Mandate Academy, so he was also very prestigious. When Jun Changshao entered the city and saw the endless stream of cultivators on the streets, he thought to himself, they don't seem to be locals of the Azure Sun County. Not bad. Most of the warriors on the streets were from other counties. Their cultivation levels were not bad. They had come to Xingyang City this time to celebrate Old Master Shengguan's birthday. I'll go. Not long after he left, Jun Changshao felt the aura of a warrior. It was similar to Jiang Ye's. He was secretly shocked. A martial king. It wasn't just a martial king. There were also many upper echelons of major clans and forces. Jun Changshao didn't even finish walking the street. Wuzong and peak Wuzong level masters could be seen everywhere. Xingyang City was definitely full of masters. Even when he brought his disciples to the Sacred Spring Mountain to challenge the Sacred Spring Sect, there weren't so many. Tisk, tisk. Jun Changshao couldn't help but sigh. As a teacher, you have a lot of power. He didn't know where the Shengguan family was, but he soon found it by following this group of cultivators with decent cultivation levels. It was a rather grand mansion. 2 stone beasts stood at the door, glaring at him with their big eyes, emitting a sense of majesty. There was a plaque on the door with the words Shengguan Mansion written on it. The handwriting was strong and powerful, and it gave people a sense of majesty. Jun Changshao only glanced at it, and his mind was shaken. At that moment, he glimpsed from the handwriting that the person who wrote these 3 words must have an extraordinary cultivation level. Tisk, tisk. Someone exclaimed, this is the plaque written by the Dean of the Heavenly Mandate Academy himself for the Shengguan family. No wonder it's so majestic. Many warriors who came to congratulate him couldn't help but be in awe. Jun Changshao suddenly realized. No wonder it looks so shocking. It's written by Peak Wu Huang. Wu Huang's level was not the highest in the Falling Star continent, but he was considered one of the top masters. Sect leader Jun. At this moment, a voice came from behind. City Lord Xia walked over with a surprised face and said, "You're also here to celebrate Old Master Shengguan's birthday?" Jun Changshao said, "City Lord Xia, you're too much. Why didn't you tell Jun in advance that there was such a big figure in Jingyang City?" I forgot, Xie Guankuan said awkwardly. Jun Changshao was just joking. He smiled and said, let's go in together." Okay. Xie Guankuan whispered as he walked, "Sect leader Jun, there are many masters who came to celebrate Old Master Shengguan's birthday. You must keep a low profile. He came to Shengguan Hong's birthday several times. Every time, he was like a child, sitting at the end of the birthday banquet and forcing himself to be invisible. There was no other way. There were too many masters who came, and they were all existences that he couldn't afford to offend." Okay. Jun Changshao said, but in his heart, he thought that his purpose of coming to the birthday banquet was to establish a friendship with Shengguan Hong and deter the demon fiend sect. If he kept a low profile, it would definitely not work. While he was thinking, the two came to the front of the mansion. According to the rules, those who came to congratulate had to report their identity when they presented gifts so that the Shengguan family could register. Xie Guankuan, City Lord of Qingyang City, is here to celebrate. A servant of the Shengguan family, after receiving the gift and learning the identity, shouted loudly. The various forces that had already entered in advance didn't pay attention to them, and instead warmly chatted with their acquaintances. Jun Changshao, the sect leader of the Iron Bone clan, is here to celebrate, the servant shouted again. Gah! The cultivators of the various forces who were chatting were startled, and all looked outside the door. Soon, a white-clothed youth walked into the inner courtyard side by side with City Lord Xia. This person looked to be only 17 or 18 years old. He was handsome and had an imposing aura. People couldn't help but guess, could he be the Iron Bone sect leader who had recently risen to fame? Sect leader Jun, at this time, Elder Ma of the Blue Mountain sect cupped his hands and smiled, "How have you been?" Elder Ma. Jun Changshao cupped his hands and returned the greeting, "Your eyes are like torches, your cultivation must have improved a lot." The two were exchanging pleasantries, and the cultivators of the various forces who looked over were certain that this outstanding-looking youth was the Iron Bone sect leader without a doubt. Tsk tisk. A big shot said, "I didn't expect that the sect leader Jun who defeated the patriarch of the Sacred Spring sect would be so young. Heroes come from the youth." Many cultivators exclaimed in admiration. If they hadn't experienced the battle of the Sacred Spring sect, they would have snorted at the mention of the Iron Bone sect, but now they were quite impressed. After all, a 7th-rate cultivator defeating a 5th-rate cultivator was absolutely unprecedented. Senior sister. A young girl, blushing, whispered, "This Jun Changshao is quite good-looking." The woman who was called senior sister smiled, "He is strong and handsome, this Iron Bone sect leader should have won the admiration of many girls." If Jun Changshao heard this, he would definitely squat in a corner and cry. Brother. Very handsome. But he was still single. Not to mention girls adoring him, there weren't even any who secretly wrote him love letters. Chapter 355. Jun Changshao's arrival attracted the attention of many martial artists in the residence. Some praised him for being young and promising, while others thought that he was handsome. Of course. As a normal fantasy novel, there would definitely be martial artists who disdained the protagonist. Needless to say, there really were. And there were quite a few of them, at least dozens. Most of these people came from high-ranking counties. They were either clan leaders or higher-ups of the factions. They looked at Jun Changshao with contempt. There was no denying it. He had the strength to defeat the patriarch of the Sacred Spring sect. But strength alone would never change his status as a low-level sect leader. In the eyes of martial artists from high-ranking counties, the ninth-class Azure Sun County was like a countryside. Those who walked out of it, whether it was the sect leader or the city lord, were all countryside people. It was very realistic and very realistic. Since ancient times, the people in the city had a natural sense of superiority. Even if they didn't look down on the countryside people on the surface, they still differentiated in their hearts. Jun Changshao could see the contempt in the eyes of some martial artists. They didn't take him seriously at all. You look down on me. I also treat you like air. Sect leader Jun Mayinton said in a low voice, I heard that you bought a business in Azure Sun County. Yes. What business? Beast Material Store. Ma Yinting was stunned. He had recommended elixir, weapon, and spirit stone stores. Why did he open a feed store? The sect leader of Azure Sun County's Haoqi sect, Qin Haoren, is here to congratulate you. At this moment, the servant shouted again. Qin Haoren? Jun Changshao murmured, this guy is here too. Not long after. Qin Haoren strode in with a smile on his face. When he saw the dazzling Jun Changshao standing in front of him, the smile on his face froze. Obviously, he was as surprised as sect leader Jun Yo-Yo. After a while, Qin Haoren cupped his hands with a fake smile and said, isn't this sect leader Jun who sells feed? He had long known about Jun Changshao opening a beast materials store and had even mocked him in front of the big shots of the alliance. Sell feed? Someone asked in confusion, sect leader Qin, what do you mean? Qin Haoren reported the matter clearly. When everyone heard that Iron Bone Clan's business was actually a beast material shop, their expressions instantly became interesting. In any case, they were a seventh-rate sect. Of all the businesses they could do, they just had to sell feed. This was too embarrassing. The high-level martial artist, who had originally looked down on Jun Changshao, had an even more disdainful expression on his face. He even thought to himself, what a vulgar country bumpkin. Sect Master Jun. Qin Haoren smiled and said, I've been busy with work recently, so I haven't been able to congratulate you on the opening of your sect's feed store. Please forgive me. Jun Changshao could tell that this fellow was mocking him on purpose, so he said indifferently, it's all right, I'll send some food to Alliance Chief Qin tomorrow. I'm sorry. Qin Haoren said, my sect has fodder for livestock. Jun Changshao said indifferently, the fodder I sent over is for Alliance Chief Qin to eat, not for the animals to eat. These words made Qin Haoren's face turn ashen. No, no. Jun Changshao said, now that you put it that way, it sounds like Alliance Master Qin is even worse than an animal. The corner of Xie Guangquan's mouth twitched slightly. Sect Master Jun's ability to scold people was improving, just like his cultivation. Qin Haoren was so angry that his eyes flickered with anger, but when he remembered that this person had always been sharp-tongued, he didn't say anything else and walked straight to the inner courtyard. To be honest, he had asked for it. If he hadn't talked about the feed store and pretended that he didn't exist, Sect Master Jun might not have scolded him. Some people were born to be annoying. If they didn't get scolded, they would feel uncomfortable all over. Qin Haoren was obviously such a person. Although he was scolded and felt very sullen, he had achieved his goal. When the various forces learned that Jun Changshao had opened a feed store, they all looked at him with disdain. It was clearly a sect with a very bright future, but it actually sold feed for livestock. This was too unorthodox and unclean. In the Falling Star continent, people were divided into different classes, and so were businesses. Selling feed was definitely the lowest class. Usually, only ordinary people would do it. Jun Changshao ignored the crowd and followed Elder Ma to the inner courtyard. The inner courtyard of the Shengguan residence was already decorated with lanterns and streamers. At the same time, there were many square tables arranged. The birthday banquet should be held here. Not long after, all the influential figures of the various forces came to the inner courtyard. They gathered together, and there were at least 400 to 500 people. The sound of conversation was endless. Occasionally, they would look at Jun Changshao, but they didn't forget to look at him with disdain. There were even cultivators from high-ranking counties who deliberately avoided him because he was a feed store. As a result, only Ma Yinting, Xie Guanquan, and the other city lords of the Azure Sun County stood beside him. Sigh. Jun Changshao shook his head and said, "Is it so embarrassing for me to open a beast material store?" Ma Yinting said, "Selling feed is a kind of unorthodox business in their eyes." Jun Changshao touched his nose and said, "As long as a business can make money, how can it be divided into unorthodox and unorthodox?" "That's right." Ma Yinting said, "As long as there is money to be made, even selling salted vegetables is not a problem." But, he paused and whispered, "Is there any profit to be made from the beast material store opened by sect leader Jun?" "It's okay." Jun Changshao said, "I sold it for 2.5 million taels yesterday." "So much?" Ma Yinting was startled and said, "Sect leader Jun, is there a 20% profit?" In his opinion, selling feed must be a small profit but quick turnover. A 20% profit was already good enough. Ah. Jun Changshao hesitated for a moment and said, "There should be." He didn't tell Ma Yinting that the cost of the feed elixir was 20 taels, but he sold it for 500 taels because Ma Yinting wouldn't believe him. Ha ha ha. At this moment, a white-haired old man dressed in a red robe walked over as if he was flying. This person was hale and hearty, and there was a strong aura around him. It was impossible to tell that he was an old man who was nearly 300 years old. Shengguan Hong, the current head of the Shengguan family and the former instructor of the Heavenly Mandate Academy. A powerful cultivator smiled and said, "The head of the Shengguan family is getting younger and younger." Ha ha ha. Shengguan Hong stood in front of the birthday banquet and said, "Thank you, everyone, for traveling thousands of miles to celebrate the birthday of an old man who is almost half in the grave." As he spoke, he waved his hand and said, "Please take a seat." Ma Yinting and Xie Guanquan, who had the experience of celebrating a birthday, brought Jun Changshao to sit at a rather inconspicuous square table. A few city lords of Qingyang County also sat down. After that, there was no one else. Many cultivators of high-ranking counties would never sit with a feed seller because it was too demeaning. Everyone sat down and began to take the initiative to say congratulatory words. Shengguan Hong was all smiles. After some conversation, he said loudly, "I heard that the head of the Iron Bone clan also came to celebrate the birthday. I wonder if Elder Ma can introduce him." Ah. Ma Yinting was a little confused. Chapter 356. Ma Yinting was a little confused as Shengguan Hong took the initiative to talk about Jun Changshao and even asked him to introduce him. The various cultivators were also at a loss. Why did old Master Shengguan mention the head of the fodder seller on the day of his birthday for no reason? Didn't he find it disappointing? Jun Changshao got up first and cupped his hands. Junior Jun Changshao greets Senior Shengguan. Shengguan Hong was older than him and was worthy of the title Senior. Shengguan Hong looked at him and praised, "Sect leader Jun is indeed a talent." "Not bad, not bad," Jun Changshao said humbly. Shengguan Hong smiled and said, "Sect leader Jun has brought honor to Qingyang County by leading a disciple to defeat the Holy Spring sect." "I was just lucky," Jun Changshao said. Shengguan Hong smiled and said, "Qingyang County is just a low-level county in the eyes of the world. I am very pleased that a rising star like the Iron Bone clan has emerged." Seeing how old Master Shengguan praised Jun Changshao, the warriors from all the forces were even more confused. It was actually very normal. Although Shengguan Hong taught at the Heavenly Mandate Academy, he could never change the fact that he was from Qingyang County. There was a new sect with great potential in his hometown that defeated the 5th-class Holy Spring sect. It would be unreasonable if he didn't praise him. In this world, not everyone was like Qin Haoren who would side with outsiders. Sect leader Jun, Shengguan Hong said again, "My precious granddaughter is full of admiration after hearing about the deeds of the Iron Bone clan. Now that you are here, she is probably hiding in the dark and peeking." This, Jun Changshao hurriedly straightened his back and struck a pose that he thought was very elegant. He thought to himself, it's free. She can watch for free. Precious granddaughter. Everyone was shocked. Shang Wanhong had 4 sons, and they were all very capable. His wives and concubines gave birth to many sons for the Shangwan family, but he only had 1 daughter. It was troublesome to have no sons. It was also troublesome to have no daughters. Therefore, Shang Wanhong loved his only granddaughter very much. He was afraid that she would melt in his hands. From old Master Shangwan's words, it wasn't difficult for everyone to understand that the eldest daughter of the Shangwan family, who was treated like a pearl in the palm of the Shangwan family, admired Jun Changshao. The young talents who came with the various forces had ugly expressions. Old Master Shangwan's granddaughter was a famous beauty. These young masters who boasted about their talents and looks naturally hoped to win her heart. Many of the force's elders also wanted their sons to marry the eldest daughter of the Shangwan family, because this was equivalent to making's father. Unfortunately, the talent had feelings, the beauty was uninterested. Many forces to Shang Wanhong repeatedly. There were even rumors that the eldest daughter of the Shangwan family had very high standards and had the right to decide her own marriage, so she had never planned to choose a partner. Jun Changshao didn't know that because of Shang Wanhong's words, many young masters around his age were staring at him with jealousy. They couldn't wait to challenge him to a duel for love. Clans. Twos. The Shangwan A. Shang of Shangwanhong asked curiously, what kind of businesses do you have, Sect Master Jun? Everyone looked over with schadenfreude. Jun Changshao said, I recently opened a few shops in 8 cities in Xinjiang County called Iron Bone Beast Material Shop. Everyone's smile became even wider. Kid, do you really think that selling animal feed is a good business? How dare you say it in front of Clan Master Shangwan? Aren't you ashamed? Shameful? Jun Changshao didn't think so. He didn't rob or steal. He was doing business honestly. How was that shameful? Shangwanhong's expression changed. Seeing this, everyone thought, Clan Master Shangwan is a respected teacher. He definitely can't tolerate a feed seller coming to celebrate his birthday. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, Shangwanhong laughed and said, the Iron Bone Beast material shop that just opened a few days ago in the city is Sect Master Jun's business. Jun Changshao said awkwardly, I've embarrassed myself in front of Senior Shangwan. Embarrassed? Shangwanhong said, Sect Master Jun, do you think that I will look down on you just because you opened a feed store? Jun Changshao didn't know how to answer. Shangwanhong said with a serious expression, there is no distinction between people and industries. Even if you are a peddler selling vegetables outside, I will not look down on you. His words were powerful and resonant. It was as if a teacher was standing on the stage and admonishing his students. Jun Changshao was suddenly in awe. Although he hadn't seen how this senior taught students, it wasn't difficult to tell from his words that he was definitely a righteous teacher. We'll talk about it later. Shangwanhong said, Sect Master Jun's feed pills are very good. Jun Changshao said in surprise, Senior Shangwan has bought feed pills from my Iron Bone Beast material shop? Of course. Shangwanhong said, after I retired from the Heavenly Mandate Academy, my greatest pleasure was to raise some pets. The corners of everyone's mouth twitched. They originally wanted to see Jun Changshao make a fool of himself. They didn't expect old Master Shangwan to be a customer of his shop. Jun Changshao said with a smile, Senior Shangwan, are you satisfied with the feed pills sold in my shop? Yes. Shangwanhong said, very satisfied. He had heard about the Iron Bone Beast material shop when it had just opened, so he sent someone to buy a few feed pills. At that time, he just wanted to give it a try. He didn't expect that the few horses he raised not only felt happy after eating, but also had a great improvement in speed and physical strength. This was strange. He also planned to buy more iron bone fodder pills after his birthday. Jun Changshao said, my shop has just opened, and not many people believe it. It is an honor for Senior Shangguan to patronize. Shangguan Hong said with a smile, the feed pills that Sect Master Jun is selling are really amazing. I am sure that once the market is opened, business will be booming. Hearing what he said, many of the locals of Qingyang County couldn't help but think that the feed pills were definitely not simple to be praised by the old man. They would buy a few to try when they had time. The cultivators from other counties were not thinking about this problem. They were thinking about it. Shangguan Hong and Jun Changshao were chatting happily. It was obvious that they appreciated it very much. Cough cough. Shangguan Hong said, everyone has come from afar. This old man is very grateful. As he spoke, he glanced at the steward in the distance. Not long after, many maidservants and servants came up with dishes. Obviously, the birthday banquet was about to begin. When the food and wine were served, the big shots of the various families raised their glasses to toast Shangguan Hong and said their congratulations. They were quite solicitous. Sect Master Jun, at this moment, Shangguan Hong stood up with a wine glass and said with a smile, you and I have met so late. I wonder if we can stay in the residence for a few more days. Everyone was dumbfounded. It wasn't the first time they came to celebrate the birthday, but they always left after eating the birthday banquet. When had they ever been politely asked to stay by the old man? Qin Haoran, who was sitting in the distance, was furious. What kind of luck did this guy have to have the support of the AI family, the Blue Mountain Sect, and now the highly respected old master Shangguan? If he had to give an explanation, that was to have a too bright and a handsome hoop. This, Jun Changshao thought for a moment and said, it is better to accept deferentially than to decline courteously. Come. The two of them drank the wine in their glasses in one gulp. The birthday banquet lasted for more than an hour. Many big shots of the forces took their leave with their subordinates. Ma Yinteng also left. But before he left, he said in a low voice, Sect Master Jun, old Master Shangguan admires you very much. This is an opportunity. You must seize it. Jun Changshao muttered. If Senior Shangguan asked him if he was engaged or not, if he was willing to marry his beautiful granddaughter, he would have no choice but to accept it. Should he refuse or agree? No. I still have to develop the sect. How can I talk about love? The system was speechless. This guy was obviously fantasizing and forcing himself to think that Shangguan Hong's granddaughter was as beautiful as a fairy. I've never seen such a shameless person in my life. Chapter 357. Jun Changshao stayed with the Shangguan family for the time being and was given a small independent courtyard with a beautiful environment. His imagination was running wild. Could it be that the old man really had the intention of betrothing his granddaughter to him? Yes, yes. He was young and talented. He was also the leader of a sect with unlimited potential. Where could he find such an excellent son-in-law? Unfortunately, he was now on the rise in his career and had no time to think about love. Sigh. In this way, it was also a problem for a man to be too outstanding. Listening to his thoughts, the system broke down. I have never seen such a shameless person. Sect leader Jun. The next day, Shangguan Hong walked into the courtyard and smiled. Are you used to living here? Yes. Although Jun Changshao was a little narcissistic, he still said coldly, Senior, why did you keep me in your house? Shangguan Hong smiled and said, that depends on sect leader Jun. Why did you bring a gift to celebrate my birthday? Well, Jun Changshao was suddenly embarrassed. It seemed that this senior should know that he had come to celebrate his birthday with a purpose. In this case, he would be frank. Jun Changshao was not a pretentious person, so he said, to tell you the truth, I have encountered some trouble recently. Shangguan Hong said, if I am not wrong, sect leader Jun's trouble should be related to the knife you used to defeat the patriarch of the Holy Spring sect. Jun Changshao was startled. Yes. Shangguan Hong smiled and said, sect leader Jun's knife, from what I know, should have a weapon spirit. It is undoubtedly a divine weapon. A man's wealth is his own ruin. He paused and said, "This knife will bring you a lot of trouble." He was indeed an instructor of the Heavenly Mandate Academy. He hit the nail on the head. Sigh. Jun Changshao sighed and said, "Senior, you are right. Tell me." Shang Wanhong said, "Your trouble is the demon sect," Jun Changshao said. Shang Wanhong frowned. "This is a third-rate heretical sect. It'll be troublesome if we're targeted." Jun Changshao said, "Therefore, this junior has come to celebrate this birthday in hopes of borrowing senior's prestige to make the demon fiend sect behave." Shang Wanhong smiled and said, "Although the demon clan is rampant, they are still very wary of the Heavenly Mandate Academy." Sect Master Jun, he changed the topic and said, "This old man has heard that your attainments in martial arts are very high." "Ah." Jun Changshao said modestly, "I know a little." Shang Wanhong took out a rather brand new secret manual and placed it on the stone table. "This is a cultivation method that I created. I encountered a small problem in the middle. I wonder if sect leader can give me some pointers." Jun Changshao said, "Since senior is able to create a cultivation technique, I'm afraid I'm unable to do anything." Self-created martial arts, he was definitely a martial arts master. It wasn't something that someone like him, who relied on an insight talisman to cheat, could compare to. Shang Wanhong said, "This old man's ability is not high. I'm just casually researching when I have nothing to do. Otherwise, I wouldn't have encountered any problems. Since sect leader Jun can give Elder Ma some pointers, it shouldn't be a problem for you to give me some pointers, right?" Jun Changshao understood. Letting him stay in the manor was definitely not to betroth his granddaughter to him, but to discuss martial arts. Nonsense. The system said, "This kind of aristocratic family has no shortage of grandsons. Who do you think you are that they have to betroth their granddaughter to you?" Jun Changshao ignored it and said, "If that's the case, this junior will take a look first." As he spoke, he crushed an insight talisman and flipped through it seriously. Judging from the meridians and the chants, this was a kind of soft palm technique. The quality was not high, probably at the level of low-level high-level. Even so, Jun Changshao was still in awe. No matter how low the level of martial arts was, it was not something that ordinary people could create. "Senior." Jun Changshao pointed to the third page and said, "This part of the chants has some flaws in the meridians. If you make some changes, it will definitely be more perfect." Shang Wanhong was stunned. He only flipped through it a little and quickly pointed out the flaws. Sure enough, it was as the rumors said. This kid had a very high level of attainment in martial arts. "I'd like to hear more," he said seriously. With the help of the insight talisman, Jun Changshao carefully dissected and analyzed the palm technique, and pointed out the problems in it. The more Shang Wanhong listened, the more shocked he was. Unbelievable. 10 minutes later, after Jun Changshao finished his explanation, he said modestly, "This is only this junior's humble opinion. If senior feels that there is something wrong with it, you don't have to pay attention to it." Although he said that, he was very confident in his heart. After his improvements, although the palm technique was still low-level high-level, it could definitely reach the level of low-level. Shang Wanhong was still thinking. After a while, he said with a very serious expression, "Sect leader Jun's understanding of martial arts is really a master." He also realized that after the improvements, all the problems and flaws were corrected, and it could be cultivated as a real martial art. A senior instructor of the Heavenly Mandate Academy gave a master evaluation, which was very valuable. Junior's Dao is too low to enter the Hall of Elegance. Jun Changshao had the insight talisman and could quickly analyze the flaws in martial arts, but it was impossible to create martial arts techniques. Shang Wanhong smiled and said, "With sect leader Jun's ability, it is the blessing of countless students to teach at the Heavenly Mandate Academy. I finally understand. Why can the Iron Bone disciples defeat the Holy Spring Sect disciples? Why? With such a martial arts master teaching, even a loser could go against the current." Sheng Wanhong had been an instructor for most of his life. Now that he had met a martial arts master, he regretted not meeting him sooner. So, he continued to communicate with Jun Changshao. Their conversation was always about martial arts and martial arts techniques. Sect leader Jun relied on the insight talisman and did not have any real ability, so he could only answer vaguely. When it was time for dinner, the two talked from the courtyard to the dining table, which made him feel very awkward. For 2 days in a row. Whenever Sheng Wanhong was free, he would come to talk about martial arts. Occasionally, they would talk about feed elixirs and horse rearing. It could be said that he was quite enthusiastic. Jun Changshao was anxious. He came to the birthday celebration in hopes of using his power to deter the Devil's Sect. Give him a statement. On the 4th day, Sheng Wanhong finally stopped talking about martial arts and said, "Sect leader Jun, with my power, although I can deter the Devil's Sect, there is no relationship between you and me. They may not stop this." Jun Changshao was silent. Yes. He was not related to Sheng Wanhong, so the Devil's Sect would definitely not care. They would still do what they had to do. Of course. Sheng Wanhong said, "It's okay, we can build a relationship." "Please enlighten me," Jun Changshao said. Sheng Wanhong paused for a moment and said, "I have many children and grandchildren, but I only have one granddaughter who is like the pearl of my palm." Hearing this, Jun Changshao was startled and thought, as expected, he wants me to be his grandson-in-law. The system was speechless. Could it be that this was really because the protagonist's aura was too strong? Sect leader Jun, Sheng Wanhong said, "If you don't mind, senior." Jun Changshao hurriedly interrupted, "This junior is focused on developing the sect and has not thought about love for the time being." Chapter 358. As soon as he moved into the Shengwan residence, Jun Changshao made up his mind. If the old man insisted on betrothing his granddaughter to him, he had to refuse. After all, he still had to focus on his career. He didn't consider love for the time being. Sheng Wanhong was startled, then immediately smiled and said, "Sect Master Jun misunderstood. What this old man means is, if you don't mind, please let my granddaughter go to your sect to cultivate martial arts." Gah! Jun Changshao was stunned. It felt like he was thinking too much. The system collapsed. "Did you just realize it?" This, Jun Changshao said, "Senior's understanding of martial arts is extremely high. There's no need to let your granddaughter come to my sect to cultivate martial arts, right?" Sheng Wanhong sighed and said, "That little girl is not satisfied with the martial arts this old man taught her. She insisted on going out to find a master to guide her." Ah! Jun Changshao was a little speechless. A master with such rich martial arts knowledge was not satisfied. This granddaughter was quite picky. Sheng Wanhong said, "My granddaughter has become an Iron Bone disciple, so there's a relationship between you and me. The Demon Fiend sect shouldn't mess around." Sect Master Jun, who originally wanted to decline, hurriedly said, "If senior doesn't think that my Iron Bone level is low, this junior is willing to guide you in martial arts." The sect had more yang than yin, so there was no problem in accepting female disciples. "Xinyao." Sheng Wanhong smiled. "Come out and greet the sect master." Jun Changshao subconsciously turned his head to look outside the door and saw a girl in a blue gauze dress walking over. This girl was about 17 or 18 years old. Her cheeks were as white as jade without any makeup. Her waterfall-like black hair scattered behind her back, and her eyes were as bright as stars. She didn't have a heaven-shaking appearance, but judging from her behavior, she must be a well-educated and well-mannered young lady from a respectable family. "Shengwan Xinyao." The girl stopped and bowed. "Greetings, Sect Master Jun." Her voice was weak, making people feel pity for her. That's right. She was Sheng Wanhong's precious granddaughter. From her speech and behavior, Jun Changshao immediately realized that this was definitely a highly educated woman. "Xinyao." Sheng Wanhong said, "The word Jun should be removed. Shangwan Xinyao bowed again and said, "Greetings, Sect leader." Sect Master Jun, Shangwan Hong asked, "When will the entry procedures be completed?" "Let's do it now." Jun Changshao took out the entry form and filled in his name. Without even asking about his aptitude and cultivation, he directly stamped the sect leader's seal. Ding! Sect members, 2015500. Ding! Sect contribution points, 2301500. After accepting Shangwan Xinyao as his disciple, he smiled and said, "Senior, if I'm not wrong, the palm technique that you taught me earlier was created by your granddaughter, right?" Shangwan Hong's old face instantly turned red. "Not bad." Shangwan Xinyao smiled and said, "I created it." As expected. When Jun Changshao was teaching her the palm technique, he realized that it was obviously suitable for women to cultivate. Although Shangwan Hong was old, he was still very masculine. How could he create a martial art that was suitable for women? TSK. Jun Changshao praised, "You're not old, but you've created your own martial art. Your martial art talent is extremely high." Shangwan Xinyao said modestly, "I can't compare with the sect leader." The set of palm techniques she created had many shortcomings, so she asked her grandfather to show it to Jun Changshao, hoping that he could give some pointers. She was not disappointed. The sect leader, who was about the same age as her, was far stronger than her in martial arts attainment. In a short time, he modified the flawed palm technique. To put it bluntly, Shangwan Hong left Jun Changshao in the house, all because of Shangwan Xinyao. She knew about the iron bone, especially when she heard that Jun Changshao was teaching the elders of the Zhongshan sect at the venue during the recruitment of numerous sections, a sect leader of an unranked sect, with high martial arts attainment. With this curiosity, Shangwan Xinyao paid more attention to the iron bone. Then, challenging the Haoqi sect, challenging the Holy Spring sect, let her finally confirm that Jun Changshao was indeed not simple. Such a person was much stronger than her grandfather. So no matter what, she had to join the Iron Bones sect and learn more advanced martial arts. "Senior," Jun Changshao said, "your granddaughter can create her own martial arts at such a young age. Joining my Iron Bone, I'm afraid it's a bit of a waste of talent." "Not a waste of talent, not a waste of talent." Shangwan Hong said, "Only under the guidance of the sect leader can Xinyao's martial arts talent be shown. He only noticed Jun Changshao because of his granddaughter. In the past few days of communication, especially in the transformation of martial arts, he was completely convinced by the vast martial arts." "Sect leader," Shangwan Xinyao said, "when do we return to the sect?" "This trip will take at least 3 to 5 months. You should catch up with your family first and wait for 2 days before leaving," Jun Changshao said. "No need," Shangwan Xinyao said with a smile, "We can leave now." The corner of Shangwan Hong's mouth twitched slightly. She had just joined the Iron Bone and had forgotten about her family in the blink of an eye. Sure enough. A grown girl can't be kept at home. "Okay," Jun Changshao said, "Pack your luggage, we'll leave now." Outside the Shangwan residence, Shangwan Hong and the higher-ups of the Shangwan family personally sent them off. "Father," Shangwan Xinyao's father said with a bitter face, "is it inappropriate to let Xinyao join this seventh-rate sect?" Second brother said, "With father's prestige, Xinyao will definitely not be rejected if she is sent to a big sect. Why does she have to join the Iron Bone?" Third brother said, "Xinyao was born with a talent in martial arts. Jun Changshao is about the same age as her, I'm afraid he is not qualified to teach her." The three brothers were opposed to Shangwan Xinyao joining the Iron Bone. "You don't know shit." Shangwan Hong glared at his sons and said, "The Iron Bone sect master's understanding of martial arts is something that even I cannot compare to. If Xinyao can cultivate in his sect, her future will be immeasurable." The old man was always amiable to outsiders, but to his sons, he looked as if he expected better from them. After being scolded by their father, the brothers hurriedly shut their mouths. Forget it, forget it. They had no right to speak at home. Since their father wanted to do this, they would just let him be. Look, isn't that old Master Shengwan's granddaughter? Why is she following sect leader Jun? I heard that old Master Shengwan specially kept him in the residence. Could it be that he has taken a liking to him and wants to matchmake his granddaughter with him? Oh my god, this is big news. On the street, many martial artists saw Jun Changshao and Shengwan Xinyao and started discussing. Sect leader. Shengwan Xinyao said with a red face, they seem to have misunderstood. Their mouths are on them, they can say whatever they want. There's no need to pay attention to them. Jun Changshao said calmly. Shengwan Xinyao said, why don't we rent a carriage and go to Qingyang City? No need. Jun Changshao said, I have a mount. Mount? When Shengwan Xinyao came to the wilderness and saw the majestic wolf beast standing in front of her, she said in surprise, this is the Hurricane Wolf King. Although she rarely went out, she had read a lot of books since she was young and knew a lot about ferocious beasts. Sit on it. Jun Changshao said. Shengwan Xinyao's cheeks flushed red and said in a low voice, if this disciple sits on it, what about sect leader?